Well, good afternoon, everybody. It's 8 minutes past the hour of 3 o'clock on this, rather warm. Yeah, I mean, we're up into the 90s. How about that? 91 degrees here in bucolic Watertown. And it is warm. It is sweltering. Have the air conditioner on high. We're going to get you through that, and we're going to get you home safely and bring you up to date on the latest news, the Trump trial that's underway now in New York. Has gotten really interesting in the last hour or so. First of all, the cross-examination of Michael Cohen came to a close today. There was a shocking admission from Cohen that he at one point stole from the Trump organization. I mean, he was given money to pay off a contractor, and he skimmed a lot of that money. He admitted in open court today. Over at CNN, Eli Honig, one of their legal analysts, said this was a big dog deal.
This is a bomb. This is really important. This is a bomb dropped in the middle of the prosecution's case. Two reasons. One, Michael Cohen was stealing from Donald Trump. He was lying to people about what he was doing with money. He pocketed at least the $30,000 by lying to Weisselberg.
It's twice, really, by the way, because remember, they double it to avoid tax reasons.
So $60,000, which, by the way, this is crushing to the prosecution's credibility, because the prosecution did not ask Michael Cohen about that on direct, and they haven't made him plead guilty to larceny.
Which this is.
So let's start with that.
Well, okay, so they finished up their testimony with Cohen, and you might think that the prosecution would want to try to clean up some of the things that have been said, but they decided not to do that. I was rather surprised by that. I thought there would be some redirect. So no, they get through, and then the defense begins its case. They call in a technical witness who was on the stand of about 20 seconds or so. He wasn't on very long. He just was there to make one little minor point. I don't think there was any redirect or cross-examination of him. And then this is the new development. In the last few minutes, they have called a man by the name of Robert Costello to the witness stand. He is testifying now on behalf of the defense. Now, Robert Costello is a sort of a 800-pound gorilla in the New York legal scene. And what will he testify to? Well, I think we got a good sense of it when he was on Fox News last week. And here's what he said about his interactions with Michael Cohen. This will go to the credibility of Michael Cohen as a witness. And by the way, that's the prosecution's star witness. The man who just admitted that he's lied. He's not only a liar, he's a thief. He has lied under oath. And now he has admitted that he took money from Trump that didn't belong to him. And Costello will talk about the meeting he had with Cohen. At one time, Costello was Cohen's personal attorney, but he's been released from his attorney-client privilege in that particular matter. And this is what he told Fox News about meetings he had with Cohen back in the day.
When I met with Michael Cohen on the first day at the Regency Hotel when he was suicidal by his own admission, I explained to him non-disclosure agreements, NDAs as he was calling them, I said are perfectly legal, because he kept on saying, why are they trying to put me in jail for an NDA? And I explained to him, that's not why they're trying to put you in jail. Obviously, they think you've done other things. What are they? He denied having done anything else. I didn't do anything illegal. I'm cooperating with the special counsel. I'm cooperating with Congress. Of course, he forgot to tell us that he lied to Congress. But he was desperately seeking, according to his own words, an escape route. I want you guys to tell me how I can get out of this, because he saw these enormous legal problems coming his way. They were so bad in his mind that he was willing to kill himself. And so I kept on going back and suggesting to him, listen, Michael, if you have something truthful on Donald Trump, now is the time to cooperate. And he kept on saying over and over again, 10 to 20 times, I swear to God, Bob, I don't have anything on Donald Trump. I even said to him, Michael, think about this. Isn't it easier to cooperate against Donald Trump if you have truthful information than it is to kill yourself? Well, the answer is obvious. That was his moment in time. If he had something truthful to say, I'm willing to cooperate. But he didn't take that. He kept on saying, I have nothing on Donald Trump. And then when we got into the discussion of the Stormy Daniels NDA, he said specifically and I cross-examined him on this. This was my idea. It was his idea to take care of the NDA because he had been contacted by a lawyer for Stormy Daniels, who said she was going to claim that Donald Trump had sex with her. Cohen said, I didn't believe the allegation, but nevertheless, it would be embarrassing to Melania. That's Michael Cohen's words. He said, and so I decided to take care of this myself.
Well, now that would be pretty compelling testimony on the stand, and apparently that is where the defense team is now taking him in their questioning. So there you have that. Pretty interesting stuff. And again, you get the sense that this guy knows how to handle himself if he's on the witness stand. I mean, he's pretty solid lawyer, a man who is immensely respected in New York legal circles, who will now be coming out and testifying that, time and time again, he said, I must have asked him 20 times. And Michael Cohen said each and every time, I don't have anything on Donald Trump. I don't have anything on Donald Trump. I don't have anything on Donald Trump. So anything that he's testified in the trial, the suggestion will be made to the jury is that he lied when he said he had stuff on Donald Trump. This is fascinating stuff, and this guy, I think, will be a powerhouse witness for Trump, and I think the prosecution's case is in tatters. Here's Jonathan Turley.
So the defense may have decided to go for a kill shot witness because, they don't have a very favorable judge. They have a rather risky jury. And Costello is everything that Cohen is not. He's a really good attorney. He really is quite truthful. He's also not someone that these prosecutors are going to be able to fold up. He was a prosecutor for about 4 years or so in New York. He's walked the walk. So there is nothing that will come out of that gate that Robert Costello has not seen before.
There you go. And then I just heard an interesting little bit of information. It has to do with the fact that, you say, well, okay, it's Costello versus Cohen. It's his word against one person's word against the other. Apparently, and this is news to me, that there was a second person in attendance at that meeting who will back up Costello's story if needed. So, wow. Pretty strong stuff. And it looks like, this thing actually is falling apart on the prosecution. They never proved their case. Now, here's the question. It's really going to come down, I think, to what kind of instructions they give to the jury. And this is there'll be a session on this after all the testimony is complete. There'll be a meeting with the judge and the attorneys for both sides to work on the instructions for the jury. And, if the jury is given the choice of saying, do you think he is guilty of a felony crime here, or it's a business documents case, or is this, would you look at it as a misdemeanor case? Now, if they put that second thing in there and the jury comes back saying we think it's a misdemeanor, then essentially the case has to be dismissed because the misdemeanor charges have already timed out. The statute of limitations on them has already run out. And the only reason they're able to bring this trial is because they came up with some kind of novel legal theory that turned a misdemeanor into a felony, because if they don't have a felony, they don't have a case. So it's entirely possible that they'll come back and say, well, yes, we think there was a minor infraction of the law, but so we'll say it's a misdemeanor case. Now, that depends, of course, on whether or not those are the instructions given by the judge, but a lot of people talked about that being exactly what may happen. So this case for the prosecution is in tatters. They never proved the case. Their star witness is Michael Cohen, who was caught lying on the stand last week and now has admitted to being a thief and skimming from the Trump organization and not passing on the full funds to a contractor. He kept about $50,000 and he passed on $20,000. So he kept about $30,000. And there were 2 rounds of it, so maybe $60,000 total. He skimmed off in things that were supposed to go to other people from the Trump organization. So there you have it. I mean, it's not a good look right now. And I just want to point out The other 3 cases that are pending against Donald Trump right now are also sort of in tatters. The whole documents case, who knows how that's going to go, because we're waiting on a Supreme Court ruling about whether or not the president has any immunity. And then if they are allowed to go forward, when you start, the process, it's very unlikely that particular case is going to be tried anytime before the election. You might start jury selection about then, but you're really not going to get anything going during the election. The Fannie Willis trial. I mean, do we need to talk about that one? That's in tatters as well. So all things said, everybody was talking about 91 indictments, 91 charges against the president, former president of the United States. And there you have it. You got a situation where nothing seems to be sticking right now. If the defense team is successful in getting one juror to hold out, just one, and remember, there are 2 attorneys on this jury panel, 2 attorneys who know the law, and if you didn't prove your case, then it would seem to me that, they're going to have to get one juror holds out. That's it. It's over. I think the prosecution realizes that they have blown it. I mean, not only did they blow it by not doing their due diligence on Michael Cohen, they just haven't presented a very strong case. Maybe it's because there isn't much to the allegation. So I think there's a good chance that you'll find one juror who holds out. It's going to be interesting to watch, but I think this one is falling apart. And again, Costello on the stand at this moment, and he'll get a blistering cross-examination by the prosecution team. But the one thing about Costello, he's not ruffled. He knows what he knows. He says what he says. And he tells the truth, and that's going to be the end of it. He'll come across, as he did in these interviews he did with several media organizations, as an incredibly credible individual. It's 21 minutes now past the hour, 3 o'clock. Let me tell you about the folks over at USS. The same company you've trusted for 30 years in your crawl space is now offering mold treatment and $500 off any mold growth solution through June 30th. So you got some time, but you need to get on it. The most trusted, most experienced crawl space repair company in Middle Tennessee and Southern Kentucky, chartered by the state of Tennessee in microbial growth, with a certified team that locates mold in the crawl space and offers a lasting solution. See, if mold is in your crawl space, it's not good for you. It's not good for your family. You need to turn your crawl space into a healthy space. With $500 off the USS 3 Steps RTE process, you can get rid of the mold problem and take back steps to prevent it from coming back. RTE stands for remove, treat, and encapsulate. Remove the active growth, treat the area where the growth occurs, and then encapsulate the crawl space. It works. It's a foolproof plan, and it'll be absolutely guaranteed. $500 off for the USS Mold Treatment RTE solution if you act now. Call now for a free mold inspection and have your entire foundation inspected at no additional charge. USS is here to help all of your foundation and waterproofing needs. Here's the number, 615-488-7855. Learn more at USSTN.com.
Hey, it's Dan Mandis, and I am so glad that California Closets has fixed my closet catastrophe. After exact measuring and planning, they came over and got to work. Yeah, once it was all plotted out on their 3D CAD system, the pieces are measured, cut, and precisely installed into my space. It was clean, fast, and professional, and above all, my new closets look and function great. Now, this was my dormer, and now this is my new dormer thanks to California Closets. Look at all of this added space for shirts and shoes, you name it, and it is cut so precisely, simply amazing. And my old closet that has now been reborn as the ultimate in style and functionability, making the best use of the space that I had. They can work on just about anything: bedrooms, garages, home offices, closets, pantries, and so much more. Find them online, CaliforniaClosets.com, and see what they can do for you. You can schedule a free design consultation. Mention my name, CaliforniaClosets.com.
Arrest warrants being sought out for the Israeli prime minister. A drowning here in Tennessee over the weekend, and busy summer travel ahead. The TSA is warning us. 3:30 Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
It is 25 minutes now past the hour of 3 o'clock. There's Mac Morey in the newsroom with all our stories, and Chris Webber in the control room pushing all the blinky buttons. And I am your friend and radio buddy, Brian Wilson, and I understand that if you listen real close, when I'm talking, you can hear the sound of cicadas in the background.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I got to tell you, those cicadas have completely lost their charm.
Yes.
I mean, if they ever had any. I mean, I thought it was so, hey, cool, we're going to get to see cicadas. This everyone happens once every 13 years, or once only 17 years, depending on which brood you have. And so I was sort of looking forward to it. It's unbelievable. It's
loud.
just well, here I got the cicada mic.
So loud. Hey.
That's right outside my studio. That's a wireless microphone that I have that I've stuck in a tree just outside my window. That's exactly what it sounds like. I mean, it is. They have a sort of a pulse to it.
Yes, they go up and then down. Yep.
Up and then down. And they're rhythmic in the way they do this. They are stridulating. And
I wonder what would happen if you took a water hose out to the tree where would they just sprayed the tree with the water hose? Would they fly away?
I'm telling you, I took a picture out my front window of my studio here, and there have got to be at least 100,000 cicadas on my property.
Yeah,
it's not more than that. I mean, they are just unbelievable. So, I thought, well, this sort of, they didn't bother me too much. I grew up in West Texas. We had the annual cicadas, and this just is the sound of summer to me. But I never had this many cicadas.
It's extreme.
I mean, we might have a few, but nothing like this. And so I went out to mow this weekend, and I got a big zero-turn mower, and I'm sitting on these things, and apparently the sound of the engine is approximately the same frequency as the stridulation that you hear in the background. And so they think I'm a big male cicada. And I got covered by like 100 of these things while I'm trying to fight my way through the yard and mow the yard. It was like, they were on my shoulder, they were on my back.
All the lady cicadas were going, "Hey, Big Daddy."
They had the hots.
Yeah, that's right. You know what they were doing? They were going, hey, you Big Daddy cicada. I hear you stridulating there. I'm gonna click my wings for you, baby. Now I don't know, but I'm telling you, it's madness.
I got another month of this.
About mid-June, I'm told.
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
So really, this is the 20th of May, and it is irritating, isn't it?
As soon as you think they go away, they come back stronger.
Well, they do seem to calm down in the evening.
Yes,
Yeah,
they do.
and I thank goodness for that.
Yeah.
But I went out to do a little swimming, working in the yard. And I thought, well, one thing I can do is I'll just jump in the pool and cool off.
Yeah.
And the pool is filled with cicadas. It's just disgusting. It's like they're in everything.
There's this one, every day when I come to work, there's this one section. It's the north loop of the interstate as you cross the river. And right before you get to Rosa Parks, if you're coming towards downtown from the north side.
Right.
The trees there are just obviously coated in them because I can hear it through inside my car as I'm driving on the interstate. And then all of a sudden, they start smacking into the windshield.
Yeah.
And it's like, man, what the heck? These things are everywhere.
Yeah, this is something else, and I think we're just now sort of hitting the peak.
Yeah,
and I don't think but man, I've got dead cicadas everywhere. They're just terrible.
Oh, the train's coming.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's the big Watertown train. That's right. Well, anyway, it's now 3:30 on Super Talk 99.7.
.30, I'm Mac Maury with your top stories. 87 degrees, mostly sunny in Nashville. Full weather forecast, traffic report 5 minutes away. There's been a strong reaction in Washington to the decision of the International Criminal Court's top prosecutor to seek arrest warrants for the Israeli prime minister as well as Hamas leaders. Stephen Portnoy with more.
The prosecutor's decision in The Hague to seek the arrest of Benjamin Netanyahu and his defense minister has brought strong condemnation from Washington. House Speaker Mike Johnson says if the arrest warrants are approved, Congress will look at sanctions against the International Criminal Court. Johnson says if the ICC is allowed to threaten Israeli leaders, American officials could be next.
Here in Tennessee, a drowning 21-year-old Keaton Mills of Lebanon fell off of a moving boat on Old Hickory Lake Sunday afternoon when they crossed a wake. Male reportedly not wearing a life jacket at the time of this incident was transported to a hospital where he died. The TWRA reports this is the 7th boating-related death on Tennessee waterways this year, the 2nd on Old Hickory Lake this year. This incident remains under investigation. And the TSA said last week it expects the busiest summer ever for air travel. Turns out it's not yet Memorial Day, and it's already seeing it. Alex Stone with details.
4 of the last 10 days have been in the top 10 busiest in the TSA's history at airport security checkpoints, according to new data. The agency saying it's already seeing the highest passenger travel numbers ever, and this summer it expects numbers to go quite a bit higher. More than 2.8 million people flew on Friday and on Sunday. The agency says expect airports to be busy already.
And that is the latest news, traffic, and weather on the way. I'm Mac Maury, WTN News.
Hey, what's up, guys? This is Matt Murphy for Members Nutrition. I want to tell you about the Members Nutrition difference, and I want to encourage you to go over to the Members Nutrition website. Number one, they believe at Members Nutrition that they can sell vitamins and supplements at a lower cost point, and they're doing it every single day at membersnutrition.com. Number two, they want to make these products right here in the United States of America, not from some overseas company, and they do that every single day. I encourage you to go to membersnutrition.com. You'll get 50% off your purchase price at checkout. You don't have to put in any codes. Just go to membersnutrition.com. Once again, membersnutrition.com.
You know, the chairman of the Federal Reserve has said that we're on an unsustainable fiscal path. You know, they're not going to pay off the make that $34 trillion debt anytime soon. But you know what they'll do? They'll print money to pay off the interest on the debt, and they will weaken the U.S. dollar. Maybe it's time to think about saving with gold or other precious metals. I know many people look at that and say, well, you know, it sounds good, but I don't really have the knowledge I need to make a smart decision. That's the way I felt, but I got professional guidance from the folks at Nashville Gold and Coin. I mean, how many times have you heard someone describe something as being the gold standard? Well, when it comes to finding an investment that protects you from runaway inflation, gold is the gold standard. It's a tried and true store of value consistent across generations. You just make an appointment with the folks at Nashville Gold and Coin. They'll sit down with you one-on-one, answer all your questions, help you make the precious metal investment that is right for you. Gold and silver can be a safe haven in uncertain economic times. And my friends at Nashville Gold and Coin are standing by to answer all your questions about the precious metals market. To set up that one-on-one appointment, just go to NashvilleGoldandCoin.com. That's NashvilleGoldandCoin.com.
Hey, it's Dan Mandis, and I am so glad that California Closets has fixed my closet catastrophe. After exact measuring and planning, they came over and got to work. Yeah, once it was all plotted out on their 3D CAD system, the pieces are measured, cut, and precisely installed into my space. It was clean, fast, and professional, and above all, my new closets look and function great. Now, this was my dormer, and now this is my new dormer thanks to California Closets. Look at all of this added space for shirts and shoes, you name it, and it is cut so precisely, simply amazing. And my old closet that has now been reborn as the ultimate in style and functionality, making the best use of the space that I had. They can work on just about anything: bedrooms, garages, home offices, closets, pantries, and so much more. Find them online, CaliforniaClosets.com, and see what they can do for you. You can schedule a free design consultation. Mention my name, CaliforniaClosets.com.
It's 37 minutes now past the hour of 3 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7. Oh, I forgot to tell you something, Chris. You need to be watching over my shoulder.
Uh-oh.
Well, I mean, it's funny how the best laid plans go awry. That's what they always say. So, it was time to update my phone. Cabana wife has a really, really old phone. It's been time to update that. So I ordered new phones, and they're supposed to be delivered to the house on Saturday at noon.
Oh, I see.
Before Saturday at noon. That gave me all day Sunday to get the phone set up and do all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And you know when they're going to arrive? This afternoon between 2 and 4.
Of course they are.
I mean, I paid extra money. Paid extra money just so that I could get it done and not have to worry about it while I'm working. But here's the thing. I have to sign for the phones.
Oh.
They won't just leave them on the porch.
Yep, that makes sense. A lot of money, yeah.
So I have put a note on my front door to tell the UPS guy that I'm in my studio upstairs in the garage.
Yeah.
So I have the downstairs open so that he can come in or she can come in and bring me my phones. And so in the middle of what we're doing here, if there's a person that appears over my shoulder, please let me know.
Okay.
Because I have my back turned to the stairwell there, and I will not know when they're here.
We may have to pause mid-segment.
And so I'll say, hey, so hold on, everybody, because, I have no other way to solve this. Because it's the same thing every week. If I say, well, bring it here Wednesday, they'll say, yeah, between 2 and 4.
Yep, exactly.
It doesn't matter. I got to sign for them, or I'll never get them.
Yep. Well, so we'll just, if I see them, then we'll just take a pause, and then we'll...
Just say, hey, everybody. That's right. I have to sign this document.
A musical interlude. The Drive with Brian Wilson. We'll be back momentarily.
Oh, no, we'll just leave the mic on. We'll catch the whole thing. All right. Well, anyway, I beg your indulgence. But, really, how do you solve this problem? Cabana Wife's working. She can't do it for me.
Yeah. Nothing you can do.
There's nothing I can do. Yeah. And again, I paid extra to have this done at noon, by noon on Saturday.
I hate when that happens. I've done that before, too, and it's like I've got it all figured out because, it takes a long time to set phones up when you transfer from an old one to a new one.
Absolutely does, yeah.
Yeah, and then you just, sorry.
Yep, and no explanation as to why they couldn't meet their obligation, UPS. I'm just saying.
Why don't you ask the person when they show up?
Yeah, say,
so where were you on Saturday?
Yeah, where were you on Saturday, my friend? That's right.
See how that works out.
Not his fault. Bless his heart. Whoever it is, it's not their fault. Listen, I'm going to have to. I've thought about this now. I wanted to give Mayor Freddie O'Connell the benefit of a doubt and look at his transportation program with through a fresh set of eyes and say, well, is there anything of validity here? And I think there is one thing that I really like, and that is swapping out the traffic lights for, more intelligent traffic management systems. In other words, traffic lights that are dynamic and not automatically set on a timer. They would help move traffic a little quicker around the area. But after reading this story in the Tennessee Star, which is really based on the Beacon Center's assessment of the mayor's plan, Choose How You Move, I have to say I'm against it. I'm against it in a big way. Choose How You Move, $3.1 billion mass transportation plan proposed by O'Connell that would upgrade nearly 600 traffic signals, build or upgrade 86 miles of sidewalk, provide 24/7 public transportation, and more features. And it's going to be funded, they say, I don't know how this works out, but a 0.5-cent sales tax increase. Now, the plan fell under criticism by political conservatives, and rightfully so. Well, the director of policy and research for the Beacon Center, Ron Schultes, has noted that a section of Choose How You Move, he called some part of it are downright inexcusably awful. It basically comes down to real estate development led by Metro government. So a part of this plan that the mayor doesn't talk about a great deal is for dedicated funding to acquire property so it could be developed with a variety of transit-connected community needs, such as thoughtfully designed affordable housing. Private and nonprofit companies would join Metro to develop these properties. So Choose How You Move proposes purchasing property nearing the planned Sobro, East Bank, Antioch, West Nashville, Tennessee State University, Skyline, Madison, Donaldson, Nolensville, and Bellevue transit hubs or transit centers. They're going to build all these all around. So, and this is really what sort of made it for me, and he's right. Here's what Schultes said. So now a government that not too long ago had problems delivering basic services like trash pickup is going to get into the real estate development business. What could possibly go wrong with that? We don't need Metro developing big home developments. That's not the role of government, and it certainly seems to be beyond just having a solution to your transit problems. We don't want them doing that. This is not what, a government always does things worse than the free enterprise private sector. And I just have nothing but bad feelings about this part of the plan, which is going to have Metro ask it as a real estate development business. Not a good idea, as far as I can tell. Metro funds would be used to keep these transit-oriented communities affordable and accessible to today's Nashvillians, says the mayor's proposal. What does that mean? Well, Schultes goes on to make another point here, and I think he's right. It sounds like using your property taxes to help subsidize others' rent or mortgage payments. Yeah, and I don't know that the tax money that I send, I don't live in Metro Nashville, but I mean that you might send to Davidson County should not be used to subsidize, but that's what they're talking about. How do you keep things affordable? I don't know that there's any other way. And then let's get down to this BRT, this bus route system. They call it Bus Rapid Transit, BRT, BART. It's a level of bus service intended to mimic rail service with increased capacity and speed compared to traditional buses. He notes that BRT usually includes dedicated bus lanes, priority for buses at intersections, raised platforms for passengers getting on and off the bus, and prepaid fares so that there is no wait time. However, where are the lanes coming from? They're not going to pave new lanes. They're going to take away lanes that are already dedicated to vehicular traffic and give them to the buses. They're going to take away your travel lanes in order to make this bus system work. Do you really think that the solution to our transportation issues is to take away drivable vehicular lanes and turning them into, you can't get into this lane because it's a bus lane. It's a dedicated high-speed bus lane. If they were going to build extra roads or something like that, then you could see it, but they're not going to do that. They're going to turn major thoroughfares throughout this city into private roadways for bus service. That's how they're going to do this. And that is a disaster. That is absolutely going to be. If you think it's bad now trying to get into Nashville, wait till they start taking some of your travel lanes away. They don't talk about that. They say, oh, bus service is going to be great. It's going to be fast. It's going to be at all these different places. But they don't tell you how they're going to use, where they're coming up with the bus lanes. They're not being truthful with you fully about this. Schultes expressed concern that Metro could dedicate already existing road lanes for bus use only, potentially increasing Nashville's traffic congestion. He also said Nashville may not be dense enough to handle a BRT, a bus rapid transit system. I don't know. I've been told that maybe I'm wrong about this, but I think all I know is what I observed. And that if the answers are buses, then why are we have so many buses that are driving around now that nobody uses? I mean, I know there are people who rely on the bus service, don't get me wrong, but just if you're driving around and you see a WeGo bus, why don't you take a look and see how many people are actually in it? I think that answers your question. See, a bus is not the solution for everyone. It's a solution for some people. But do we change the entire nature of transportation in the Nashville area to favor buses at the expense of taking away vehicular traffic lanes? So if I'm wrong about this, and I've got some of these facts wrong, I don't think I am. But if I am, I invite Mayor Freddie O'Connell to come on the program and to tell me where I'm wrong. And if I'm wrong, then I'll admit it. But I don't think I am. And I don't think they're being completely truthful with you. And every sounds go, oh, we're gonna fix all the transportation problems, and it's only going to cost you a cent of extra sales tax. First of all, I don't believe that last part. I think there will be ongoing costs, maybe $111 million a year is what I've been told, in continuing expenses once you build the system out. But folks, if you live in the Nashville area and you have to drive to the center city, imagine how much more difficult that's going to be. Maybe you need your car for one reason or another. Maybe it's just the best solution for you is to drive. How much better do you think it's going to be when you have to fight all those buses for travel lanes? when they take away major thoroughfares and turn them into rapid transit bus lanes that you can't even begin to use. I have a feeling you're not going to feel great about it. Now, if I'm wrong about any of this, Mayor O'Connell, look, I welcome a thoughtful conversation about this. But I don't think it's the business of the city of Nashville to get into real estate development. And I don't think it's a good idea to use up traffic lanes that we already have in this area and say, well, you can no longer drive on them. We're going to make them exclusive bus rapid transit lanes. Because for a lot of people, including myself, who come into that when I used to go in every day, that would just not work for me. The bus thing would not work for me. It would not be the solution that I need. And I think everybody's got a different solution, but I think a lot of people are going to be loath to give up their cars and say, well, now I'm just going to take the bus. I have real concerns about this. Choose how you move. Is $3.1 billion, is that really going to be paid for by a half-cent increase in your sales tax? And again, I see some things that I like. I see a lot that I have big questions about. One of them is, number one, what are we doing having the city of Nashville become a real estate developer? And the number two question is, where are these bus rapid lanes coming from? Are you going to build new lanes, or are you going to be taking away existing lanes? I think the answer is the latter, and I don't think they want to talk about that. So we need more information from the mayor, but I have real concerns, and at the moment, I'd have to say, for me, it's a thumbs down. I don't think it solves many of the problems. I think it could exacerbate some of our problems. 50 minutes now past the hour of 3 o'clock on Super Talk. The weather is getting warmer, and a lot of people are grilling out right now. If you're a fan of Legend Steakhouse like I am, you can enjoy some of those same flavors right at home, right off your very own grill. Just take a walk down your grocer's aisle at Walmart, Kroger, other places. Look for Johnny Fleeman's very own brand. Johnny Fleeman's Marinade proprietary blend will give your steaks, chicken, or chops a flavor that will hit a home run with family and friends. It's low in sodium, about a third of other brands. You don't have to worry about over-marinating. And don't forget his honey mustard salad dressing. Use it as a salad dressing or a dipping sauce for your favorite chicken fingers, fresh cut veggies or chips, or a recipe used in his restaurants for over 35 years. If your favorite grocer isn't stocking Johnny Fleeman products, well, why don't you ask them to do so? For more information, just go to johnnyfleeman.com. And it goes without saying, for those times when you want someone else to do the cooking, they'll always be glad to see you at the nearest Legend Steakhouse for lunch or for dinner.
Hey, it's Dan Mandis, and I am so glad that California Closets has fixed my closet catastrophe. After exact measuring and planning, they came over and got to work. Yeah, once it was all plotted out on their 3D CAD system, the pieces are measured, cut, and precisely installed into my space. It was clean, fast, and professional, and above all, my new closets look and function great. Now, this was my dormer, and now this is my new dormer thanks to California Closets. Look at all of this added space for shirts and shoes, you name it, and it is cut so precisely, simply amazing. And my old closet that has now been reborn as the ultimate in style and functionality, making the best use of the space that I had. They can work on just about anything: bedrooms, garages, home offices, closets, pantries, and so much more. Find them online, CaliforniaClosets.com, and see what they can do for you. You can schedule a free design consultation. Mention my name, CaliforniaClosets.com.
A road rage incident between two semi-truck drivers today here in the mid-state. Hearing more testimony from the Donald Trump hush money trial. A mother facing murder charges here in Tennessee and a new lawsuit against American Airlines. We'll tell you what it is. 4 o'clock, Super Talk, 99.7 WTN.
Well, let's take a look at the markets. The market's closed mixed today. Dow Jones Industrial's down about 200 points, 196 actually. S&P is up about 4 points, but the Nasdaq set a new record today. They're up 108 points, ending the day at 16,794. What's driving the market? Let's check in with John Maxon over at Beacon Capital Management for more on that. Hello, John.
Hey, good afternoon, Brian. Yeah, kind of a mixed day on the market. The S&P and NASDAQ up a little bit, hit another record high. The Dow fell below that critical mark or new mark of 40,000. Really, the market overall has continued to go up because investors are beginning to be more optimistic that the Fed's going to be raising rates. So much of that's really driving the market now. But, at the same time, policymakers have continued to be pretty cautious, trying to calm the market's expectation. But I'll tell you, the big event this week is going to be NVIDIA. They're going to be reporting earnings on Wednesday. They're expected to have earnings of 400% to the positive and revenue growth of 240%. So that could drive the market either direction. Then durable goods orders at the end of the week will also have an impact. So a couple important reports coming up.
All right. Thank you so much, John. Find out what John Maxon and all the good people over at Beacon Capital Management can do to help you get ready for retirement. Just go to their website, askbeaconnow.com. 58 minutes now past the hour of 3 o'clock. How many times have you heard me talk about D.T. McCall's and Sons? It's a great company here in Middle Tennessee. They got 5 convenient locations. And here's, if you need something for your home, whether it's appliances or furniture, maybe you need a gun safe, maybe you need a mower. I mean, I have a Cub Cadet mower I got at D.T. McCall and Sons, and I just love the thing. It's my favorite thing in the world to go mow now. It's how good it is. But you don't get to be in an area for over 100 years without having a reputation for treating people right. And that's what they're going to do. They'll give you a price, and it's an honest price, and they'll never charge you more for things like, setup and delivery and haul away of the old thing. No. The price they give you is a real price. They don't play games like the big box store does. So listen, if you really do need something for your home, you owe it to yourself to go by one of their 5 convenient locations in Middle Tennessee, or go by their website. Learn more at dtmccalls.com.
Hey, it's Dan Mandis, and I am so glad that California Closets has fixed my closet catastrophe. After exact measuring and planning, they came over and got to work. Yeah, once it was all plotted out on their 3D CAD system, the pieces are measured, cut, and precisely installed into my space. It was clean, fast, and professional, and above all, my new closets look and function great. Now, this was my dormer, and now this is my new dormer thanks to California Closets. Look at all of this added space for shirts and shoes, you name it, and it is cut so precisely, simply amazing. And my old closet that has now been reborn as the ultimate in style and functionability, making the best use of the space that I had. They can work on just about anything: bedrooms, garages, home offices, closets, pantries, and so much more. Find them online, CaliforniaClosets.com, and see what they can do for you. You can schedule a free design consultation. Mention my name, CaliforniaClosets.com.
Four o'clock, I'm Mac Maury with your top stories. 86 degrees, mostly sunny on Music Row. Traffic and a weather forecast coming up 5 minutes. Right now in Tennessee, Clarksville officials searching for a semi-truck driver after an alleged road rage crash happened on I-24 West just before 2 o'clock this afternoon. The driver of one of the semis sideswiped another semi-truck, causing that truck to leave the interstate and into a wooded area. The woman driving the sideswipe trailer was injured from that crash. The THP now investigating. If anyone has seen a tractor trailer with damage to the right side, you are asked to call police. And now over to the Donald Trump hush money trial. We're hearing more testimony today. Derek Dennis filling us in.
Time is running out for former President Trump to testify in his New York City hush money trial. The prosecution has already rested, and defense lawyers have called last-minute minor witnesses, including a paralegal earlier and now a longtime Trump ally, Robert Costello. But the judge has already said he'll only allow very limited testimony from Costello, so that means Trump's time to testify is just about up.
So many legal experts say it would be unlikely. It's far too risky. But Donald Trump is the most unique criminal defendant in American history. So we can't rule anything out until the defense says so in open court.
ABC's Aaron Katersky. Minutes ago, the judge admonished Costello for rolling his eyes and giving the judge the side eye. At one point, the judge cleared the courtroom to speak to Costello more privately. Court's now back in session. Costello still on the stand as the former president's trial nears its end.
And back here in Tennessee with a crime story, 25-year-old Jelani Patton indicted and facing murder charges in connection to the death of her 4-week-old son. Officials began investigating after they received a call concerning an unresponsive infant. Patton allegedly claimed the baby fell off the bed and hit his head. That baby later died at the hospital. Patton being held in the Rutherford County Adult Detention Center on her $250,000 bond, and she's set to appear in court on June 25th. And American Airlines facing a new lawsuit from a mother who claims her teenage son died as a result of the inaction of a flight crew. Alex Stone gives us more.
I want answers.
Melissa Arzu claims the flight crew on board an American Airlines flight from Honduras to New York did not respond in time when her 14-year-old son Kevin had a medical emergency on board, and they failed to properly operate a defibrillator.
I want American Airlines to take full responsibility.
Her lawsuit alleges a crew was not trained properly and was not able to operate that defibrillator. Now she's suing American Airlines for wrongful death. American Airlines declines to comment on the case because of pending litigation.
And that is the latest news. Traffic and weather on the way. I'm Mac Morey, WTN News.
The Guaranteed Offer is the easiest way to sell your home. It's really simple. We bring you an all-cash offer. You close in as little as 21 days. No home inspections, no lockboxes, no open houses. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer and start packing.
It is 4:07 on Super Talk 99.7. I'm Brian Wilson, and this is hour number 2 of The Drive on Monday, May 20th. We hope that you're getting home safely. We're going to give you some news and information, bring you up to speed on everything going on. It's been an eventful day at the trial in New York. The prosecution has rested, and the defense has begun its witnesses, and they brought on an 800-pound gorilla in the form of a guy named Robert Costello, who will talk about his conversations when he was an attorney for Michael Cohen. Michael Cohen, by the way, admitted on the stand today before they finished all of their cross-examination that he had stolen about $60,000 from Trump over the years. And so he admitted basically a felony on the stand. So I don't know what's going to happen with that. I mean, it seems like if he makes the admission, then you have a charge now to be brought against Michael Cohen. Who knows how that gets resolved? But the guy, Robert Costello, is testifying today in the last few minutes, and he's been going after and telling a story, a narrative about a conversation he had with Michael Cohen. With Michael Cohen said about 20 times, "I don't have anything on Trump. I don't have anything on Trump. I don't have anything on Trump." And it's a pretty compelling story. And so now they are just adjourning for the day. And I'm keeping an eye. The former president will be coming out and making comments, as he often does, in that echoey hallway. We'll see if we can catch some of that when it happens. Chris, keep an eye on the courtroom there, if you would, and let me know when to stop. A couple of other things real quick. We were talking about the bus program that the mayor is suggesting for Nashville as part of this transit referendum that voters are going to be asked to vote on. And I made the comment that there aren't many people on the buses. And you pointed out, Chris, this story from WKRN. It talks about an incident that occurred on a WeGo bus in which a woman tried to stab, it sounds like it was an attempted murder. Okay, we'll stop that moment. The former president of the United States is now walking to the echoey hallway. Let's see if we can hear a little bit of what's on his mind today as this trial is winding down.
So thank you very much. You saw what we saw. That was an incredible display. I've never seen anything like it in my life. A tyrant. And everyone's talking about it. This is what we have. We have an acting judge, appointed judge by Democrats, by the club. And they're keeping now, I guess this is our 4th week, soon to be our 5th week. Not campaigning, but you saw what happened, what just took place in that court. And hopefully the motion to dismiss this trial will go through, because this trial is a disaster for our country. It's a disaster for New York State, New York City. Greg Jarrett just says, where exactly is the crime? To quote a memorable line from Shakespeare in Love, I don't know, it's a mystery. There is just no crime. Andy McCarthy, if it's unconstitutional for Texas to enforce federal immigration law, how is it constitutional for New York to enforce federal election law? They're going by federal law. It's never happened before. Nobody's ever seen anything like this. This is a witch hunt. This is a witch hunt. This is to damage crooked Joe Biden, the worst president in the history of our country, by far, to damage his political opponent. That's all this is. The highly political judge, a totally conflicted judge, who just did something that nobody's ever seen. And the press is not happy, I don't imagine. They just got thrown out of a courthouse. Nobody's ever seen anything quite like it. These things are consistent. Bragg has no authority to enforce election law. And we did nothing wrong. Ted Cruz has said it's over 200 years. Never once has a president of the United States been indicted over no crime. No crime. Molly Hemingway, very smart woman. This is a show trial. There is no actual crime or evidence. Molly Hemingway, respected by everybody, by the way. Here's a very liberal gentleman, but a very talented one, critically acclaimed director, Oliver Stone. I haven't heard his name mentioned in a while. It's a new form of warfare. It's called lawfare, and that's what they're using against Trump. That's all of a sudden who I think is a super liberal, but even he's talking. I must tell you, I've never had such liberal, or as they say nowadays, progressive support. Mark Levin, you're living through what is not only the worst presidency in American history, that's Biden, when it comes to domestic and foreign affairs, but when it comes to our Constitution, the rule of law, law and order, which is the core to this republic, Biden is dismantling it, and he's destroying it. I don't even know if it's him. I think it's the people around his desk, that beautiful, beautiful, resolute desk in the Oval Office. It's a horrible thing. The country's never been in this position. We're doing badly in so many different ways, and we're falling apart, and we're not respected in the world anymore. They're looking at us and saying, hey, they're no different than we are. Bad countries are saying that. They're saying that the United States is no different than we are. Gavin Wax, the globalist elite, severely...
Well, he's going on to read some of the things that commentators have said about the trial. He's really limited on what he can say about the actual testimony today because of the gag orders that are in place. But he comes out every day and likes to quote what other people are saying about the case. It really did take some amazing developments today in that Cohen says he stole $60,000 from Trump and the Trump organization over the years, admitted to being he's not only a liar, but now he's admitted to being a thief. So he's not a very credible witness. And then we have the testimony that is now beginning. The defense is bringing on a guy named Robert Costello, who will talk about how he was one time Michael Cohen's attorney. He's been released from that responsibility, and his attorney-client privilege is no longer at play, he says. And he's testifying about the conversations he had in which Michael Cohen said time and time and time again, I don't have anything on Trump. Don't have anything on Trump. And by the way, apparently there was somebody else in the room who can back up these conversations that Costello is testifying to. So a really bad day for the prosecution. They didn't even try to rehabilitate the witness. They just said, no, we rest. It's almost as if they know that they've been beaten and they just want to get this thing over with. So the real question remaining is, will Trump actually testify in his own behalf? And he has said that he wants to. That's always his instinct, I think. But most people, most legal analysts say it would be a disaster for him to get on the stand now. No need to put him at risk because it would open him up to questioning about anything. And he, quite frankly, it doesn't seem as if the prosecution has built the case. That doesn't think, and they've done nothing but put on their star witness is a person who was caught in a lie last week in his testimony in this particular trial, caught in a bold-faced lie. And then today it became clear that he's not only a liar, he's a thief. So no credibility for Michael Cohen is left. I think the Trump team has a pretty good chance of getting this case, thrown out. It will depend on a lot of things happening. I think he will be acquitted. If it goes to the jury, I think they'll ask for a directed verdict from the judge. I don't know if the judge is going to give it or not, but they will be asked, and then the thing will go on. So there you have all that happening at New York, and that's it for today. They'll resume tomorrow with more testimony from Robert Costello and a possible cross-examination. Let's see. I was going to try to get this story in. I think I had enough time to just hit this one story. Remember, I've been telling you about the situation down in Quantico. May 3rd, a couple of individuals tried to infiltrate the base driving a box truck. The pair attempted to enter the base by identifying themselves as Amazon drivers. Security didn't buy it and pulled them over to the side for further vetting and further inspection. The men tried avoiding the area and tried to go around and gain access to the base before they were stopped. Apparently, they had the emergency barricades came up out of the ground and stopped them from entering the base. Both men were apprehended. Both men are Jordanian nationals, with one allegedly being on the terrorist watch list, both coming across the southern border in recent days. And so the question is, what were they up to? Now, they didn't have weaponry. And if there's anything in the truck, we haven't heard what it is. But you know what it sounds like? And what some people are beginning to suggest is it sounds like a dry run. And we know that when they get ready to take some kind of action, they often, the terrorists will do a dry run to see what the reactions would be, to see where you get stopped, to see what happens, to know what the likely outcome of this is. And if they had been given access to the base with a box truck, then maybe they would try it again the next day. And as they came through and, with saying that they were delivering stuff on behalf of Amazon, a box truck can contain, as we saw in the Oklahoma City bombing, a tremendous amount of explosive material and could really cause a problem. So was it an ISIS dry run? It's the question that many people are asking right now about that particular thing. And what's really weird about it, and I'm telling you weird, is that you can't get anybody in the government to talk about this particular case. I mean, there's not been many leaks. People won't even talk off the record. You can't get anything about this. Nothing. And so the question becomes exactly what was it? Was it a dry run? Was it something else? Why are they so hesitant to talk about it? Well, I'll tell you why. Because if this turns out to be it was a dry run, we got two bad guys here. One that came across the border. One is said to be on the terrorist watch list. And if they were trying to carry out some kind of terrorist attack, or this is a dry run for a terrorist attack, the Biden administration absolutely wants to keep that under wraps because it confirms our worst fears about the southern border policy, is that you've let a lot of people have come into this country. You've vetted a lot of them. A lot of them got across as known gotaways, had no contact with law enforcement whatsoever. And so the question is, is this the proof positive that that terrorists are trying to take advantage of the chaotic situation on the border as we have predicted? That would be a very bad story for the Biden administration when we now know that the issue of immigration is such a hot topic, and many people are very upset about it. It's the number one thing on people's minds, they say, as they ponder the coming election. And if this were to get out and it be a confirmed terrorist dry run, then what's going on out there? It would verify our worst fears about the Biden border policy. A couple other quick stories on the border before we have to move on. Border officials are to they expect 10 million migrants under Biden by September. That's right. 10 million is the number. At the current rate, the Biden administration, according to the Washington Examiner, will hit the never-before-seen figure of 10 million people encountered in a single term of a president in the coming months. This, according to House Homeland Security Chairman Mark Green from Republican of Tennessee, 5th Congressional District. It's unbelievable. We're on track to hit 10 million encounters nationwide before this fiscal year is even over, and that doesn't count the roughly 2 million or more known gotaways on this administration's watch list, under this administration's watch. President Biden and Secretary Mayorkas continue to break all the wrong records, and it's overwhelming to our Border Patrol agents, Green said. The American people should not have to bear another day of this self-inflicted disaster. 21 past the hour. No matter how much they wish it was the case, there are no pills or magic spinal creams that can open up your spinal disc and take pressure off your nerves. If you got a back problem, that's what it's all about. You have two choices, really: surgery or non-invasive spinal decompression. Now, for me, I chose non-invasive spinal decompression, and you know what? It worked. I choose the non-surgical spinal decompression at the Wellness Institute of Nashville. Their state-of-the-art facilities and high-tech equipment offer the latest non-surgical procedures. Because getting better is so important, Dr. Mitchell and Dr. Ashley are offering half-off spinal decompression treatments and half-off the KT knee machine, which is sort of like spinal decompression, but it's for the knee. It gently elongates the knee so that the healing therapy can get deep within the joint. I mean, here's the thing. If you are a new patient, you can get your exam, your consultation, and your very first treatment for only $23. So make a call, 615-246-5009. I put my stamp of approval on the Wellness Institute of Nashville, so call them today, 615-246-5009. Learn more at painisbad.com.
Hey, it's Dan Mandis, and I am so glad that California Closets has fixed my closet catastrophe. After exact measuring and planning, they came over and got to work. Yeah, once it was all plotted out on their 3D CAD system, the pieces are measured, cut, and precisely installed into my space. It was clean, fast, and professional, and above all, my new closets look and function great. Now, this was my dormer, and now this is my new dormer thanks to California Closets. Look at all of this added space for shirts and shoes, you name it, and it is cut so precisely, simply amazing. And my old closet that has now been reborn as the ultimate in style and functionability, making the best use of the space that I had. They can work on just about anything: bedrooms, garages, home offices, closets, pantries, and so much more. Find them online, CaliforniaClosets.com, and see what they can do for you. You can schedule a free design consultation. Mention my name, CaliforniaClosets.com.
More testimony from the Donald Trump hush money trial, plus our money news report, taking a trip to Wall Street 30 minutes after the hour of 4 o'clock right here. Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
All right, 25 minutes now past the hour, 4 o'clock. Again, a recap of what's happening in New York at the trial. A number of very, very interesting turn of events. The prosecution has rested. And the defense started to put on their witnesses. There was one technical witness who came on very quickly to talk about election law, and he was on the stand for all of about 3 minutes. I don't think there was even a cross-examination of him. He just wanted to get one little bit in there for the defense team. And then they brought in this 800-pound gorilla, a guy named Robert Costello, who is a very well-known figure in New York legal circles and is widely admired and has been doing interviews talking about to anybody who would listen about a conversation he had with Michael Cohen. Michael Cohen said he didn't have anything on Trump. And so he's on the stand now. Be interesting to see exactly, what they do in a cross-examination of him. But the prosecution's star witness has been totally destroyed. He's been found to be a liar on the stand last week. He told just a bald-faced lie that he was caught in. And then he's now not only a liar, but he's a thief. He stole $60,000 from the Trump organization by his own admission here on the stand today. They didn't even try to rehabilitate the witness, which is shocking to me, that the prosecutor didn't even at least try on cross-examination, redirect, I guess is what it is, try to actually salvage his testimony. They didn't even give it an effort. I think these guys who are bringing this case against Trump are not all that good. And it's surprising to me that they're not all that good, but they apparently are not. And so now we wait to see. This thing could wrap up this week and go to the jury, and we'll see what happens then. Over the weekend, Channel 2 had an interview with disgraced former Nashville Mayor Megan Barry. She, on Sunday, explained her decision to re-enter politics and challenge U.S. Representative Mark Green, Republican of the, did I say 5th? I think he's the 7th congressional district. I keep getting those numbers mixed up. I apologize for that. She, as you know, Megan Barry resigned as Nashville mayor in 2018 after it was reported that she financed an affair with a bodyguard using almost $175,000 in taxpayer money. She used taxpayer resources and vehicles to facilitate an affair, some of which took place in a Nashville city cemetery, apparently. And she says that, she owns what she did, and she's ready to re-enter politics.
You think about all that you've been through, personally, professionally. Why now?
Well, now is the right time. I look at the dysfunction in Washington, and I think people want a government that's going to work. And so enough of the chaos. And I want to run and be part of the solution.
So when you think about back in 2018, you resigned as mayor of Nashville. What would you say to folks who are skeptical about putting their trust back in you again?
Sure. I mean, I own everything I did, and I take absolute responsibility. And my hope is that voters out there are believers in second chances, and it is my goal and my role to convince people that I'm the right person for this job.
Okay. Yeah, look, she talks about wanting to go to Washington because she feels like it's a place that's full of dysfunction. Is there anything more dysfunctional than a mayor who had to resign because she carried on a torrid affair with her bodyguard that went to, they went to where? They went to Greece. They went to I forget all but Paris, Kansas City. I don't know why. But they were all over the place. And how chaotic and dysfunctional was the government after that? Well, I think for her to talk about dysfunction is pretty rich, quite frankly. I think the way these congressional districts are drawn, I don't think she has much of a chance. She probably, it will be sacrificed, but at least, if she goes out there now and she loses, then she, feels like, well, I've sort of, gone through it all. Everybody said everything that they can possibly say about me. Then I think then she'll try to run for another office of some kind. By the way, the last time we had a big traffic referendum, it was something that she started and that was picked up by others who followed on after she had to leave office. You remember, she pleaded guilty in Davidson County to felony theft of property of over $10,000. And it was a deal that was, in other words, they were not going to prosecute the case if she would step down and repaid paid $11,000 in restitution in the process. $11,000 is not even close to how much money was spent in taxpayer money that she used to facilitate the affair. Look, do we want to give her a second chance? Do we want to overlook her criminal record, which, by the way, has been expunged? That was part of the deal. It was expunged in 2021. Metro Nashville Office of Criminal Court confirms that the city has no records of the former mayor in their case management system. Look, I don't know if it's the right thing to do or not, but I'm not sure that we need to give her a second chance. And I don't think that, when she talks about the amount of dysfunction, I wonder about the dysfunction that she caused back in 2018. 31 past the hour.
.431, I'm Mac Morey with your top stories. 86 degrees. We got a forecast and a traffic report just ahead, 5 minutes. The prosecution rested its case against former President Donald Trump this afternoon. Now that all witnesses have been called and testified, Olivia Rubin reminds us, though, anything is possible.
When Donald Trump could change his mind this evening and decide to testify, of course, anything is possible. So I wouldn't put, a red line in saying it's absolutely off the table. But if you go just based off of what Todd Blanche told the judge, there was no plan for Donald Trump to testify. He made the choice not to. They had two witnesses, and we have now seen who those two witnesses are. Donald Trump, not one of them.
And after hearing weeks of lengthy testimony, over 20 witnesses, over 250 exhibits entered in, they're going to have a week off to contemplate this before coming back to ultimately deliberate. Now over to the money news. Daria Albinger filling us in on Wall Street.
It was a big day for the big board to start the week. The Dow briefly reached an intraday high before it fell 197 points. The Nasdaq jumped 109 to close at an all-time high, and the S&P rose 5. Mickey Mouse is joining a union. Performers at Disneyland have voted to join the Actors Equity Association to form the unit called Magic United. California theme park is owned by the Walt Disney Company, the parent company of ABC News. Target is cutting prices on thousands of consumer basics this summer, from diapers to milk, in what it calls a bid to follow customers who are paying closer attention to their spending as inflation cuts into their household budgets. Frontier Airlines is making some changes, some big ones, as a matter of fact, when it comes to fees. It's eliminating change fees on some of its tickets, part of its appeal to get more people to fly the lower cost airline. It has been lagging to JetBlue and to Southwest.
And that is the latest news, traffic and weather on the way. I'm Mac Morey, WTN News.
The Guaranteed Offer is the easiest way to sell your home. It's really simple. We bring you an all-cash offer. You close in as little as 21 days. No home inspections, no lockboxes, no open houses. Go to markspain.com to get a Guaranteed Offer and start packing.
It is 38 minutes now past the hour of 4 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7. I'm Brian Wilson, your friend and radio buddy, and you're listening to The Drive for this Monday, May 20th. Monday. How we all dread that day, don't we? You know? The mamas and the papas were right. Oh, by the way, the UPS guy came.
Yeah, totally missed him. He must have snuck in.
He never, ever came any, I told you the story earlier if you missed it. I had to order phones, and I paid extra to have them delivered on Saturday so I wouldn't have to deal with them while I'm on the air, because you have to sign for the phones. And so, then we found out that apparently one of the UPS drivers out there was listening, that texted us and said, they don't deliver in Watertown on the weekend. Well, they should have said that. Nobody told me that.
Yeah, that's weird.
I didn't know. I mean, I think it's unfair. They're picking against Watertown. I mean, what do we do to them? They have an obligation, I think, to if the folks at Verizon say it'll be there by noon on Saturday, it ought to be there by noon on Saturday. But apparently they don't deliver. I'm picking on poor little old Watertown.
Yeah, that's too bad.
I don't think it's right. I don't think it's right. The small towns don't get the same service as the big towns. But anyway, one way or the other, I was worried about it because, the thing said they're going to deliver between 2 and 4. And I'm on the air from 3 till 7, so I knew there was a good chance they would show up while I was on the air.
Mm-hmm.
And I left them a note saying, look, I'm up in the studio. Please, come by, but be very quiet because I'll be in the middle of a radio broadcast. Well, the guy just apparently, I never saw him, never heard him.
Yeah,
came in very quietly, came up top stairs and just laid the box at the top of the stairs and left.
Yeah. Apparently he got a heads up though.
I think he got a heads up.
Yeah.
So there you have it.
All good now, huh?
Well, it's good now, except that I really wanted to do this over the weekend. It takes a while to set up dang phones.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not an easy thing when you do it. So I'm again, that has been resolved. And my thanks to the driver, not his fault, that they told me something that wasn't true.
Mm-hmm.
Not his fault that UPS decides to discriminate against Watertown. Come on. What did we do to earn that? This story is something that I'm very interested in. And we haven't heard anything about the 9/11 case against Saudi Arabia. A federal judge in Manhattan is expected to rule any time now on Saudi Arabia's appeal to toss a lawsuit against the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. But if the landmark case goes forward, long-buried secrets of the September 11th, 2001 terror attacks will be exposed. This is the closest thing you're going to get to a smoking gun, says Brett Eagleson, who was 15 years old when his dad, Bruce, died while working in the Twin Towers on 9/11. He says the public needs to see this. Eagleson has told the Boston Herald that lawyers have obtained a video that allegedly shows a Saudi suspect casing the U.S. Capitol in the summer of 1999, pointing out where Congress sits. Eagleson also says a companion sketchbook painstakingly shows an aviator's algorithm on how to hit a target on the horizon when flying a plane. He credits British officials for obtaining both pieces of incredible evidence and retired FBI agents for assisting 9/11 families who refused to give up on seeking justice nearly 23 years after the ruthless kamikaze jet attacks on New York City, the Pentagon, and then the plane that went down in Shanksville, Pennsylvania. Federal Judge George Daniels of the Southern District of New York now holds the key to the case. The judge must decide whether the lawsuit against Saudi Arabia moves ahead or is forever thwarted. If we lose, it's a dagger, says Eagleson. But what more do you need? The Saudi government's latest appeal states that no government official, senior or otherwise, gave any direction to a couple of their employees by the name of Omar al-Bayoumi or Fahad al-Thumairi to assist the 9/11 hijackers. Any contact, the Saudis add, was innocent motives to help fellow Saudis new to the San Diego area. Those Saudis, Nawaf al-Hazmi and Khalid al-Mindhar, were the first 9/11 hijackers to set up shop in America after landing in Los Angeles, according to many reports. Bayoumi and Thumairi, both Saudi officials, are accused of assisting them, according to the court documents, and the allegations brought by the family. By the way, there are 10,000 people who are litigants in this case. 10,000 people have joined this case over time. How about that? So here's where I think it gets really, really interesting. If the judge allows the case to go forward, the 9/11 families, 10,000 plaintiffs strong, who lost loved ones in the 9/11 attacks and are still dying from cancer from working on the demolition of the building and the removal of all the rubble, will be able to expand discovery. It means Al-Qaeda cells in Boston, Portland, Maine, Phoenix, Florida, and New Jersey can also be investigated fully with this new knowledge. And according to one Florida blogger who has followed the case closely, it could force Saudi Arabia to settle out of court and issue an apology. The first two hijackers, Hamzi and Mitar, arrived in Los Angeles in January 15th of 2000 without being able to speak English. His records show they made it to San Diego, where they took flying lessons and flunked out, rented an apartment, and attended a mosque. And then the thing is I want to get into is we know that two flights went to the ground zero in New York. Flight 77 was the one that hit the Pentagon. And then there was the case of Flight 93 in Shanksville, Pennsylvania, which went down in Shanksville at 10:03 after heroic passengers rushed the cabin and took control, crashing the jet. 40 passengers and crew perished. That's the jet Eagleson said was destined for Washington, D.C. Now, I have a great deal of interest in Flight 93 as on a personal level, because on 9/11, I was at the Capitol when everything started to go down. I was on Capitol Hill. I was sent up there by my Fox News producers because they thought they were going to evacuate. They eventually did evacuate the House and Senate. And I was out there on the front lawn of the Capitol reporting that day and talking about it when a jet came flying straight up the mall. A military fighter jet, straight up the mall, not very high above treetop level. It got to Capitol Hill, and then it took a turn to the north and the west and vectored in that direction. Well, so I said, I've never seen it. There was a sonic boom. That's how fast that jet was moving, beyond the speed of sound. And they were headed north and west from the Capitol. We now know that they were headed in the direction of the plane that went down in Shanksville. And their mission was to take that plane out. There were two jets, ultimately, that headed that direction out of D.C. They didn't have any weaponry on board, and what they were supposed to do was ram the jet and eject. That's all they could do, because there were no weaponries. The jets that they had on standby out at Joint Base Andrews, then it was Andrews Air Force Base, did not have any weaponry loaded, and they didn't have time to wait. Their job was to intersect that plane and take it out. One was going to hit the tail, and one was going to hit the cockpit, and they were going to eject that plane so that it did not reach Washington, D.C. I didn't know all that at the time. I just knew what I saw was a jet moving very fast in that direction. When I finished my live shot, a police officer from Capitol Hill, came over to me. I knew him. He said, "Brian, you got to leave the grounds." I said, "Why?" He said, "There's another plane out there, and we believe it's headed for the Capitol." I have always believed that the Flight 93 was destined for Capitol Hill. A lot of people say it was going to the White House. Now, here's what I think, and part of this is based on some of the evidence that I've seen since, and part of it is again my speculation. Flight 77, I think it was, that was coming up the Potomac, that eventually hit the Pentagon, was flying up the river, which is a sort of a corridor for flights in and out of Washington. They come right up the Potomac River, and then right as they get to about the Pentagon, you see Reagan National Airport off to your right, and so a lot of flight. There are always a lot of flights, but this one was coming at about 600 miles an hour. It was coming fast. I have flown that corridor in a helicopter, and I know that it's very hard to see the White House, but it's almost impossible to miss the Pentagon. I think that plane's original target was the White House. I've always felt this way. I think they were coming so fast that they could not find it. They couldn't lay eyes on it, couldn't figure out exactly where it was. And I think the Pentagon was always their secondary target. You know, when you're in the military and they send you off on a bombing run, you have a primary target, you have a secondary target. If you get there and somebody's already taken out the primary target, or you, for some reason, you can't get to the primary target, you don't waste the mission, you go and hit your secondary target. I think they had a secondary target. I think the Pentagon was the secondary target. And I truly believe that the flight that went down in Shanksville was aiming for the Capitol Hill. And I think their original plan was to have one jet take out the White House and the second jet take out Capitol Hill. And I mean, I believe this to this day. Can I prove it? No, not absolutely. But this backs up the theory that some believe that they were casing the Capitol Hill, the Congress. I mean, what a coup it would have been if they had wiped out the White House and taken out the Capitol Dome. Right? So this is a very interesting case, and I hope that it goes forward. I think whether or not they can prove that the Saudis were actively involved, a lot of people think they were, and the Saudis have long fought this. It's gone on for all these many years. Here we are, it's 2024. What is that? 23 years now they've been fighting this case. And we're waiting to find out what the judge says. But one of the things that comes out of this is, I believe, it adds to the credibility of the theory that I have long held, that one was headed for the White House. They couldn't find it, so they hit the Pentagon as their secondary target. And I believe to this day the secondary plane in Shanksville was coming straight for Capitol Hill. I've always believed that since that police officer told me, we believe it's headed here. And it was quite a day. I'll never forget it. I hope this trial goes forward so we can see this evidence. I think there's still much evidence out there that has not been shared. 51 now past the hour. If you're in the market for a pole barn, the two brothers that run Stoltzko are the two guys you need to talk to. Exceptional quality, craftsmanship, and fair prices. They can build your pole barn to your specifications with your needs in mind, and that is the Stoltzko difference. Pole barns. Do you know what they are? They can be used for all kinds of things. It can function as a classic tool or work barn. You can put your cars in it. It can be a garage. It can be a place for your horses. Or it can be a place where you live. That's called a barn dominium. And they do those as well. They combine the classic post-frame barn look with the reliability of modern materials and modern building techniques to give you a finished barn that will stand the test of time. They don't scrimp on quality. They don't cut corners. They believe their customers deserve only the best. So why don't you go to their website, stoltzco.com, Stoltzco, stoltzco.com. Take a look at some of the things they've done for other people, and you'll get it. And then you'll want to call 615-622-5992. Stoltzco, where quality workmanship and great customer service is affordable. Learn more at stoltzco.com. That's stoltzco.com.
The guaranteed offer is the easiest way to sell your home. It's really simple. We bring you an all-cash offer. You close in as little as 21 days. No home inspections, no lock boxes, no open houses. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer and start packing.
Let me tell you about the folks over at King & Associates Insurance in Brentwood. They've been in business from 25 years there, and they are an independent agency, and that's an advantage for you, really, honestly. As an independent agency, they don't have to just pick one product, just one kind of a policy for you. They can shop around and find one that really fits your need. And you know what that means? That means you're going to get more insurance bang for your buck. And that's what you want, right? You want insurance that fits your need, not just a one-size-fits-all that you get on these insurance companies that operate on the internet, right? And then the other thing that's really great about them is their customer service. It is truly amazing. You call their number, and here it is, 615-329-8121, and you don't reach a call center. You will talk to an actual person. The person will pick up the phone and say, how may I help you? And then they will put you in touch with whoever it is that can actually help you. You're going to get answers. You're going to get them quick. You're not going to spend hours waiting on that line. You're listening to that recording that says, your calls are important to us, when you know they're really not. They are the kings of the multi-policy discount, and there are huge savings to be had. 20, 25, 30, 35%. If you bundle, you can save a lot of money. Why don't you get your Royal Review today with King & Associates? Find out how much they can save you. Just log on to tkinginsurance.com. Again, tkinginsurance.com. King Insurance & Associates, Royal Treatment at great rates.
Five o'clock, I'm Mac Maury with your top stories. 84 degrees currently on Music Row. Traffic and that complete weather forecast both headed your way in 5 minutes. A stabbing today in Tennessee. A woman stabbed a WeGo bus driver this afternoon. The attacker's in jail. The driver in the hospital. Channel 4 Sharon Dankwa gives us more from the bus stop today.
They say a woman was getting onto this WeGo bus stop and was getting onto the WeGo bus. She said a bus driver said that the woman came on screaming. When she kept screaming, the bus driver told her to stop and sit down, but that only made the woman even angrier. Police say that's when the woman whipped out a kitchen knife and started charging towards the bus driver with that knife. They say the bus driver fought off that knife, but was stabbed multiple times in both of her hands. That's when the bus driver told police the woman jumped off the bus and headed towards Briley Parkway. That's when police say they got the woman, arrested her, and that's when they took the bus driver to the hospital.
Officials say the bus driver will be okay, and police now looking for witnesses as they try and gather more information. And another day of testimony from the Donald Trump hush money trials.
Court's done for the day, but testimony is not over yet. In former President Trump's New York City hush money trial, the prosecution is already rested, and defense lawyers will pick back up with their questioning of longtime Trump ally Robert Costello in the morning. Still no indication Trump himself will testify, though there is still time. The judge has already decided closing arguments won't start till next week.
He doesn't want there to be a lot of space between closing arguments, the charge to the jury, and when deliberations begin. So it looks like he'll let the closings occur next week, and then the jury charge, and finally deliberations.
ABC's Aaron Katersky asked for Costello minutes ago. The judge admonished him for rolling his eyes and lacking decorum. At one point, the judge cleared the courtroom to address Costello more privately. The former president on trial over charges he falsified business records to pay off Stormy Daniels.
And right now in Tennessee, Clifford Gordon, a missing professor at Columbia State Community College, was reportedly found after dying on a study abroad trip in Brazil. Gordon was with 3 other students when a wave hit them, sweeping up Gordon. No one else injured. That trip ending early, the students heading home. Gordon had been with the university since 2008 and went full-time as an art teacher in 2013. And that is the latest news. Traffic and weather on the way. I'm Mac Maury, WTN News.
Hey, it's Dan Mandis, and I am so glad that California Closets has fixed my closet catastrophe. After exact measuring and planning, they came over and got to work. Yeah, once it was all plotted out on their 3D CAD system, the pieces are measured, cut, and precisely installed into my space. It was clean, fast, and professional, and above all, my new closets look and function great. Now, this was my dormer, and now this is my new dormer thanks to California Closets. Look at all of this added space for shirts and shoes, you name it, and it is cut so precisely, simply amazing. And my old closet that has now been reborn as the ultimate in style and functionability, making the best use of the space that I had. They can work on just about anything: bedrooms, garages, home offices, closets, pantries, and so much more. Find them online, CaliforniaClosets.com, and see what they can do for you. You can schedule a free design consultation. Mention my name, CaliforniaClosets.com.
It is 6 minutes past the hour, 5 o'clock, hour number 3 of the drive on this Monday. Man, it got up there today. We hit, 91, 92, I think, today. I don't know what the official high was, but that's what I saw on my thermometer. Wow. And it's right now 88 degrees.
Yeah, still 90 downtown.
Wow. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. It's not even summer yet. I sort of wouldn't want to. I mean, we can't really complain because all we said last week was, make it stop raining, please. Enough with the rain.
Yeah.
And so now, when you get the sunshine, you got to go with it. But that's fine. That's fine. It's got to get warmer because summer's on its way.
Mm-hmm.
So much going on today that I want to share with you. Number one, if you've been at work and just getting into your car, you may not have heard the very latest out of the Trump trial in New York. First of all, I'll just give you the big picture. The prosecution's case is in shambles. It really is. I don't see how any reasonable juror, based on what we know about the testimony, could convict Trump on this. I mean, we may have some unreasonable jurors, and we may have an unreasonable judge in this particular case. But, I mean, everything is falling apart for the prosecution. Today, during a cross-examination of Michael Cohen, the defense team got him to admit under oath that he had stolen $60,000 from the Trump organization. Last week they caught him in a lie on the stand, a very clear lie. And today we find out that Michael Cohen is not only a liar, he's also apparently a thief. And so he admitted it. His own admission, he stole $60,000 from the Trump organization over a period of time. 60 grand, ladies and gentlemen. That destroys the credibility of this guy. So, you know, if the jury is paying attention, they have no doubt noticed that this guy's not a very reliable witness, and that the things that he has said you can't believe. So, and remember, he doesn't have to convict. He doesn't have to convince. The defense doesn't have to convince all 12 jurors. They only have to convince one. Is there one person on this jury who has the temerity to stand up and say, I'm sorry, I just don't believe that they proved their case? There's a couple of lawyers on the jury pool who, if they, if they look at this from that aspect, they haven't proven their case. They just simply haven't. I'll tell you an example of one reason why I think the prosecution knows that they're in trouble here, is that they didn't try to do redirect. In other words, after your star witness has been just shredded by the defense, normally you would come back in and try to rehabilitate the witness and ask a bunch of series of questions to try to clean anything up. They didn't even try. They just said, we rest. And that was it. And so then the defense team began their testimony, and this is where it gets interesting. They had a guy come in who was a sort of a technical expert on election law, as I understand it. He testified for about 5 minutes. He just had one little factoid to get into the record, and I don't think there was even any cross-examination by the prosecution of him. And then they called Robert Costello. And Costello is an 800-pound gorilla in the New York legal system. He's a man who was at one time was Michael Cohen's attorney. And he's been released of his attorney-client privilege, and he's able to testify. He's been telling us for some time what he was going to say on the stand. So let's plow through some of the sound here. First of all, this thing about Cohen lying. Ellie Honig, who is a legal analyst for CNN, says this is a big dog deal.
This is a bomb. This is really important. This is a bomb dropped in the middle of the prosecution's case. Two reasons. One, Michael Cohen was stealing from Donald Trump. He was lying to people about what he was doing with money. He pocketed at least the $30,000 by lying to Weisselberg.
It's twice, really, by the way, because remember, they double it to avoid tax reasons.
So $60,000, which, by the way, this is crushing to the prosecution's credibility, because the prosecution did not ask Michael Cohen about that on direct, and they haven't made him plead guilty to larceny.
Which this is.
So let's start with that.
You know what? That's one of the things that's really kind of weird. I don't think these prosecutors are very good. I mean, one of the things, if you know there's a problem out there, you inoculate your witness by bringing it up on your own and getting a more sympathetic telling of the story. But they didn't do that. And so when the defense team went after and started shredding up Michael Cohen, they just decided we better just get him off the stand as soon as we can and move on. Now, as for this guy Costello, Robert Costello, he is going to testify that Michael Cohen told him many times he doesn't have anything on Trump. We know that because he spoke to reporters last week. He was all over the place talking about if anybody would listen. What he would say if he was called to the stand.
When I met with Michael Cohen on the first day at the Regency Hotel when he was suicidal by his own admission, I explained to him non-disclosure agreements, NDAs as he was calling them, I said are perfectly legal, because he kept on saying, why are they trying to put me in jail for an NDA? And I explained to him, that's not why they're trying to put you in jail. Obviously, they think you've done other things. What are they? He denied having done anything else. I didn't do anything illegal. I'm cooperating with the special counsel. I'm cooperating with Congress, because he forgot to tell us that he lied to Congress. But he was desperately seeking, according to his own words, an escape route. I want you guys to tell me how I can get out of this, because he saw these enormous legal problems coming his way. They were so bad in his mind that he was willing to kill himself. And so I kept on going back and suggesting to him, listen, Michael, if you have something truthful on Donald Trump, now is the time to cooperate. And he kept on saying, over and over again, 10 to 20 times, I swear to God, Bob, I don't have anything on Donald Trump. I even said to him, Michael, think about this. Isn't it easier to cooperate against Donald Trump if you have truthful information than it is to kill yourself? Well, the answer is obvious. That was his moment in time. If he had something truthful to say, I'm willing to cooperate. But he didn't take that. He kept on saying, I have nothing on Donald Trump. And then when we got into the discussion of the Stormy Daniels NDA, he said specifically, and I cross-examined him on this was my idea. It was his idea to take care of the NDA because he had been contacted by a lawyer for Stormy Daniels who said she was going to claim that Donald Trump had sex with her. Cohen said, I didn't believe the allegation, but nevertheless, it would be embarrassing to Melania. That's Michael Cohen's words. He said, and so I decided to take care of this myself.
Now, one of the interesting things that has happened this afternoon is Costello, as you can tell, is a pretty formidable man. I mean, he speaks his mind. He's very straightforward. He says what he says, and you know, he's very believable. But apparently, there were rulings sometimes in the court by the judge about things that could be said and could not be said by Robert Costello. They were keeping him on a pretty tight leash. And apparently at some point when the judge would issue some kind of ruling from the bench, he would sigh heavily or roll his eyes or give the judge, as he said, the side eye. And so the judge picked up on this, and he asked for the jury to leave the room for a moment. And he had an instruction to Costello, no more of the sighing. Apparently at one point he didn't agree with the ruling that the judge had said. He went, geez. And apparently the jury heard it, he's like, I can't believe this guy. And so the judge had to, sort of reprimand him outside the presence of the jury to not roll his eyes and to not have a little running commentary about the judge's rulings in the case. But, Costello is not one to be easily intimidated. As you can tell, he's a pretty straightforward individual, former prosecutor himself, a man who's held in extremely high regard in the New York legal circles. Jonathan Turley was in the courtroom for part of the day, and he talked about, exactly how powerful a witness this Robert Costello could be on behalf of the former president.
So the defense may have decided to go for a kill shot witness because, they don't have a very favorable judge. They have a rather risky jury. And Costello is everything that Cohen is not. He's a really good attorney. He really is quite truthful. He's also not someone that these prosecutors are going to be able to fold up. He was a prosecutor for about 4 years or so in New York. He's walked the walk. So there is nothing that will come out of that gate that Robert Costello has not seen before. I mean, I wouldn't want to go against him. He's pretty formidable. And so, you got these prosecutors who have blown the case on so many different occasions. I mean, they didn't inoculate their witness. They didn't do all the things that they needed to do that you normally do in a trial. They missed evidence. They apparently had no idea about the text messages that Cohen had given in this key phone call that he says is when he was talking to he told Donald Trump the whole truth about the Stormy Daniels settlement and the things that he was doing in a 90-second phone call. No, he forgot that there were text messages between him and Trump's bodyguard. See, that's the way you got a hold of Trump back in the day, is if you needed him, you phoned the bodyguard, and the bodyguard would then, if he was available, hand the phone to Trump. Trump didn't carry a phone. So apparently there were text messages that indicate that the phone call was really about something completely different. That Cohen was being harassed and getting harassing phone calls from some kid out there, and he's trying to figure out how to make it stop. And so he says, to the bodyguard about it and give me some advice. How do I stop this? And then he said he also had the phone handed over, and he talked to Trump, and he gave Trump the whole word about how the Stormy Daniels things had gone down. So that's when he said he fully informed Trump. There's a problem. There are text messages before and after that simply deal with one issue, which is this kid who was harassing Cohen. And the whole conversation lasted exactly 90 seconds. So tell me how you get on a phone and solve a problem and get advice
from the bodyguard and then also have a detailed conversation with Donald Trump about the Stormy Daniels matter in 90 seconds. He lied about that. He forgot about the text messages. The prosecution did not know, seemed to be completely unaware of the text messages, which, by the way, the defense team got in discovery. So the prosecutors had that. They just never brought it up. And they say they could have done that. They could have, and again, inoculated the witness by saying, now I understand there were a couple of things you needed to talk about in this conversation, right? They didn't do that. They didn't even mention this other thing. So, I mean, Cohen's credibility is shredded. And the prosecution now has a very formidable witness onto the stand on behalf of Donald Trump. Whether or not they are going to widen that in cross-examination and try to bring out some other things, I don't know. The judge seems prepared to wrap this thing up this week and send it to the jury. So after it's about 21 days or something like that, about 20 days on this trial has been going on. Trump has been in that courtroom every day. We now apparently will see something closing, getting close to the end here. And we'll find out what's going to happen. Will the jury acquit? We only need one. And a lot of that will depend on exactly what kind of instructions are given the jury by this very tainted judge, in my mind. So we'll be watching that to see how it all plays out. But I think a good day for Donald Trump. He came out of the courthouse, and again, he can't talk about it because of the gag order. But the testimony was pretty strong for him today. It was a good day in court for the Trump people. 20 minutes now past the hour. All right, a message to the guys out there. You're getting engaged this spring. Don't make her settle for one of those knockoff, mass-produced rings you find at most jewelry stores. No, you don't want that. Get to Genesis Diamonds and get her a one-of-a-kind ring that she really wants from a world-class designer. Genesis Diamonds has the rings on every woman's wish list. Truly handcrafted rings made in the U.S. from names like Tacori and Verragio and Henry Dowsey and more. Other stores are not even allowed to sell these amazing brands, but you can get them at Genesis, and they've got all the best brands. And because Genesis is a direct diamond importer, you get the best prices on diamonds, and you can choose between natural and lab-grown diamonds. So you get the total package of Genesis, one-of-a-kind ring and a great diamond at an amazing value price. And remember, unlike other stores, at Genesis, no commission salespeople. Their experts at Genesis are there to help you, not push you. Zero pressure, no pricing games. They'll guide you. Genesis is a family-owned business. They have an incredible reputation, known for doing business the right way with honesty and integrity. Genesis Diamonds, the only jeweler that I recommend for quality, selection, and value. You just can't beat them. 2 locations, Green Hills and Cool Springs.
Hey, it's Dan Mandis, and I am so glad that California Closets has fixed my closet catastrophe. After exact measuring and planning, they came over and got to work. Yeah, once it was all plotted out on their 3D CAD system, the pieces are measured, cut, and precisely installed into my space. It was clean, fast, and professional, and above all, my new closets look and function great. Now, this was my dormer, and now this is my new dormer thanks to California Closets. Look at all of this added space for shirts and shoes, you name it, and it is cut so precisely, simply amazing. And my old closet that has now been reborn as the ultimate in style and functionality, making the best use of the space that I had. They can work on just about anything: bedrooms, garages, home offices, closets, pantries, and so much more. Find them online, CaliforniaClosets.com, and see what they can do for you. You can schedule a free design consultation. Mention my name, CaliforniaClosets.com.
Coming up, we've got some Israel-Hamas news, crime in Tennessee, a mother indicted on murder charges, and we've got a cockroach survival guide. 5:30 Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Spanning the globe to bring you the constant variety of sport, the thrill of victory, and the agony of defeat.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. It's time for McMurray's wide, wild, wacky, weird, wonderful world of sports. And now here, without further ado, the man you've come to rely on for your sports information, the one, the only, McMurray, ladies and gentlemen.
Woo! Happy Monday.
Freshly shorn McMurray.
Yes, that's true.
Wow, what? Yeah, I haven't ever seen your hair that short.
I know. She cut it a little shorter than I wanted, but it's okay. I like it.
Yeah. Well, you were looking like a damn hippie, so I'm glad that you did something about it.
I still wanted a little bit of what they call, the baseball players call lettuce. You know that back there when you wear a hat? You
a little flow?
I still wanted a little flow.
In the back,
It'll grow. It's fine. No worries. The fiance likes it. That's what matters. So
well, and
we're
did
fine.
Did she like it?
She did like it.
Well, then, see, I think really, honestly, I would go shorter.
I'm in the just keep going short. See, that's what she likes it.
See where the cutoff point is.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
All right. What's going on in the world of sports, McMurray?
Well, we are in the midst of NHL and NBA playoffs, and the two best words in sports, Game 7. We have one tonight in the NHL. It'll be the Edmonton Oilers taking on the Vancouver Canucks. This will be at Vancouver for Game 7. We did have some NHL games, obviously, over the weekend as well. We had a Game 6 between the Canucks and the Oilers. The Oilers took over 5-1. That game was pretty much, they were in control of that game mid-second period. I was kind of lightly following that. And on Friday, we had a double overtime nail-biter. The Dallas Stars win Game 6 in Colorado against the Avalanche to advance to the conference finals. And their matchup, their opponent, is yet to be known. We will find out here tonight whether it's the Canucks or the Oilers. On the other side, we've got the Panthers and the Rangers. The Panthers were able to fend off the Bruins, who were trying to come back from a 3-1 deficit. They won Game 5. Bruins did 2-1, and then Panthers took care of business in Boston to go win Game 6. It was kind of right there. Boston did what they needed to do on the road in Game 5. They come back home Game 6. That's kind of the roadmap, right, if you will, to winning, coming back 3-1. Got to win one on the road. You come back Game 6, and then all of a sudden it's a one-game standoff in Game 7. Right. They couldn't get to that Game 7 point. Panthers fend them off. Bruins, yet again, kind of a disappointing season with a really good roster over there. So you've got Panthers and Rangers. Game 1 will be Wednesday at 7 o'clock, and then Game 1 of the Stars versus whoever wins, Oilers or Canucks, will be Thursday at 7:30. So that's what's going on in the NHL. The NBA, we had some Game 7s as well. 2 Game 7s over the weekend, both yesterday. The Pacers and the New York Knicks. Again, classic matchup, back to the 90s, right? Reggie Miller, Patrick Ewing. Reggie Miller doing the choke face, choking and saying, you guys can't win. And, the Knicks did it yet again.
Reggie Miller, just for the I want to get that out there. I always hated him.
He was very hateable. He talked a lot of crap.
So easy to hate.
Very cocky. The Knicks did the same thing. They choked. They were up 3-2. They lost 2 games in a row. They were just injured. We've covered this, playing their guys 40-plus minutes a game.
That's tough.
And they were riddled with injuries, dropping like flies. Their best player, Jalen Brunson, fractured his foot or his hand in that game, I believe. So he got an injury. They had 2 guards who were their best defenders, one with a rib contusion, another one dealing with some back issues. They just were dropping like flies out there. They were on their 10th, 11th man in the playoffs. And the Pacers were, in the first half, they were shooting like 75% from the field. They could not miss.
And got hot. Yeah.
Oh, it got hot. And it just, at the Garden, too. You think, okay, one of the hardest places to play, let alone basketball, in sports. It's supposed to be Madison Square Garden. And they proved to overcome that hump. A young Indiana Pacers team, they'll face the Boston Celtics in the Eastern Conference Finals. They are heavy underdogs. Honestly, I'd love to go back in the history books to see if we've had this heavy of favorites in a conference finals. If you told me the Pacers are winning, I'd say you don't know what you're talking about. That's how big of a discrepancy there is between these two teams in experience, in talent, really in every sort of category. Boston has a massive edge. That series will start tomorrow. And then Minnesota Timberwolves, they did it. They knocked off the defending champions in Game 7 last night. Anthony Edwards Only 6 for 24. A bad shooting night. He was able to play make, but they have 3 centers. They run 2 at a time, and those were the 3 best players just defending Nikola Jokic, who's the face of the NBA, the best player in the NBA right now, a 3-time MVP, one of the best centers to ever play. They couldn't do it, though. They lost in Denver. They were up by 20 in the first half. One of their best players, Jamal Murray, had like 24 points in the first half. He only had 11 in the second half. Nikola Jokic, 15 rebounds in the first half, only 4 in the second half. They were just able to stifle Denver and come back a roaring third quarter. It was absolutely incredible to get themselves down 2 or 4 points, something like that. And credit to Minnesota. You know, this is a franchise that hasn't had a lot of success, never really won a title. And you love to watch these kind of smaller market teams have this success. So I believe it's the first time since 1954 in the conference finals in the NBA we do not have one current or former MVP. First time since the 50s we don't have a current or former MVP in the conference finals in the NBA.
Wow.
Yeah, so
that's really something. That's quite a commentary.
I'd be interested to look to see once the conference, all the conference finals are set. When's the last? Which team was the? Let's see. How do I word this? When did they last? All these teams that are left win a championship, an NBA championship.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point. I mean, Dallas would be 2011. Minnesota, I don't know if they've ever won one. Indiana Pacers.
I don't think they've ever.
I don't think they've ever won one. And then Boston would be 2008. My hockey knowledge isn't as good. I'd have to look that up. Yeah. So that's interesting. Yeah,
but it's been a while for the NBA.
It's been a long time. Yeah,
more than a decade.
I believe this will be now 6 years in a row that we have a different 5 or 6 years in a row that we have a different champion each and every year. So that's good parity for the NBA.
Yeah, sure, definitely.
New regime, new young stars.
Makes it interesting.
It does. You never know what's going to happen.
All right, we'll leave it there. Time for the news as Mac Morey takes off his sports hats and puts on his news hat. It's 5:30 on Super Talk.
$5:30, I'm Mac Morey with your top stories. 85 degrees in Nashville. A traffic report and a weather forecast in 5 minutes. There's been a strong reaction in Washington to the decision of the International Criminal Court's top prosecutor to seek arrest warrants for the Israeli prime minister as well as Hamas leaders. Stephen Portnoy has more.
Washington's condemnation of the move was swift and bipartisan. Republicans said the International Criminal Court risks creating an equivalence between Israeli leaders and Hamas. And the top Senate Democrat Chuck Schumer described the prosecutor's move this way.
Not only profoundly unfair, but it is reprehensible.
House Speaker Mike Johnson says Congress should now consider sanctioning the court.
Here in Tennessee with a crime story, 25-year-old Jelani Patton indicted facing murder charges in connection to the death of her 4-week-old son. Officials began investigating after they received a call concerning an unresponsive infant. Patton allegedly claimed the baby fell off the bed, hit his head. The baby later died at the hospital, and diagnosis does show traumatic brain injury to the head. And Patton is being held on a $250,000 bond in the Rutherford County Adult Detention Center, and she has a court date June 25th. And now over to cockroaches. Seems those 6-legged, hairy, sometimes winged home invaders won't die no matter how hard you try to eradicate them. Derry Albinger tells us that we helped them learn how to survive.
Researchers at Baylor College of Medicine studied the genetics of cockroaches from their humble beginnings in Asia, and they found they scuttled across the globe by hitching a ride with another species, humans. They traveled west through the Middle East about 1,200 years ago in soldiers' bread baskets and later stowed away on Dutch and British East India Company trade routes. Once cockroaches got to Europe and North America, they got comfy with inventions like indoor plumbing, where they've quickly evolved to resist most pesticides.
And that is the latest news, weather, and traffic on the way. I'm Mac Morey, WTN News.
The Guaranteed Offer is the easiest way to sell your home. It's really simple. We bring you an all-cash offer. You close in as little as 21 days. No home inspections, no lockboxes, no open houses. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer and start packing.
Let me tell you about the Wellness Institute of Nashville. You know, they want you to know that there's no magic solution, no pills or spinal creams that can open up your spinal disc and take pressure off your nerves. If you're hurting in your lower back or in your back or your neck, there are really only two choices. One is to do surgery. The other is to pursue this thing called non-invasive spinal decompression. I chose non-surgical spinal decompression at the Wellness Institute of Nashville. Their state-of-the-art facilities and the latest in high-tech equipment offer the latest non-surgical procedures. Because getting better is so important, Dr. Kevin Mitchell and Dr. Ashley are offering half off spinal decompression treatment and half off the KT knee machine, which is sort of like spinal decompression for the knee. It sort of gently elongates the knee so that you can get the healing therapy deep within the joint. Now, if you're a new patient, here's another added bonus. You can get your exam, your first treatment, and your first consultation for only $23. You got that on you. I'm Brian Wilson, and I put my stamp of approval on the Wellness Institute of Nashville. So call them today at this number, 615-246-5009. Learn more at painisbad.com.
Hey, what's up, guys? This is Matt Murphy for Members Nutrition. I want to tell you about the Members Nutrition difference, and I want to encourage you to go over to the Members Nutrition website. Number one, they believe at Members Nutrition that they can sell vitamins and supplements at a lower cost point, and they're doing it every single day at membersnutrition.com. Number two, they want to make these products right here in the United States of America, not from some overseas company, and they do that every single day. I encourage you to go to membersnutrition.com. You'll get 50% off your purchase price at checkout. You don't have to put in any codes. Just go to membersnutrition.com. Once again, membersnutrition.com.
.38 minutes now past the hour of 5 o'clock. I'm Brian Wilson, your friend and radio buddy, and I will say I am done with the cicadas. I am so over the cicadas. Oh, my gosh. I posted a picture on my social media platform, on my Facebook page, looking out the front window of my studio into a bunch of Bradford pear trees, and it looks like beeves hovering around a hive. There are thousands and thousands and thousands of these things. This, you know, when I have put a microphone outside. This is what it sounds like outside my house right now. And it's like, you hear that they sort of have a pattern. They sort of throb and ebb and flow.
Yeah.
It gets quieter, then it gets louder, then it gets quieter, then it gets louder. And they're all out there. And I mean, I have never seen. I mean, I thought, okay, this will be cool. Hey, you know, we're going to see cicadas. They don't get to see this but every 13 or 17 years, depending on which brood you have. And I thought this would be great. Until I went out and tried to mow my yard this weekend. And apparently, when I'm on the big mower, all of this, the female cicadas think that I am a gigantic, because I think the mower sounds a lot like the same frequency as the cicadas. And so they just swarm me. I mean, I had at one point, you know, I was constantly fighting them off. And you know, there were times when there were 10, 15, 20 cicadas on my body. Just because, you know,
That's fun.
I know, it's no fun at all. And they don't bite, but their claws sort of stick into your skin a little bit.
Yeah, they poke you a little bit.
They poke you a little bit, but they don't bite you. They're harmless. But I mean, enough already. And, you know, I thought, well, you know, this will be sort of fun. It'll be interesting to see, you know, what of this annual, you know, weird thing that Mother Nature does. There's these bugs that come out of the ground every 13, 17 years. I'm done with it. I am so done with it.
Yeah.
And the noise doesn't bother me so much. It's just that there are so dang many of them. I bet you on my property I've got 100,000 of them, if not more. I mean, honestly.
Wouldn't surprise me.
I mean, they are just taking over.
But the thing that astounds me, I've seen areas where the ground is completely covered in the holes where they've come out and molted their shell. I mean, it's like, how are there that many? If there's that many of these holes on the ground, then you know that these things are crawling around and flying around in the trees and such.
Now, by the way, the cicada mic will soon become the bird mic because the bush right outside, I've got these literally I've got wireless microphones clipped to branches on the tree outside my window. But right below this, there's a nest with a mama cardinal.
Yeah.
And 4 eggs. And they should be getting pretty close to hatched up.
Problem is you won't be able to hear the little baby birds cheeping because the cicadas are so dang loud.
And then this weekend, Cabana Wife, she's got this little herb garden things, these elevated beds that she puts her herbs in, where she likes fresh herbs and spices like that when she cooks. And so she's getting that all set up, and she found another nest. There's a whole nother nest with 6 eggs.
What kind of nest is this one?
Well, we're not real sure because we haven't gotten a great glimpse at the mama. The mama comes, you know, she's pretty fast, and you don't get to see her. So I don't think she thinks it's a wren. I don't think it's a wren. I think it's a little small brownish bird with some color on it, and I don't know what it is. I don't think it's a wren. But anyway, one way or the other, we got lots of life, a lot of vibrant life underway here at Stately Wilson Manor. We got more life. And again, can we stop with the cicadas already?
Yeah, I think I'm going insane.
I know. Also, I'll turn down the mic now. You say you could still, even when I turn the mic, you could still hear them in the background.
Just a little bit.
Yeah.
Just
really, that's so weird.
Mm-hmm.
And I've got all the doors closed and all the windows locked.
They don't go away. Yeah, speaking of going, Hannah came to me yesterday and was like, "I'm actually they're in my head. They're everywhere. I need to get away from them."
Well, I read a comment. I talked about how I'm over the cicadas. Put it on my social media page, and a listener one of our most dedicated listeners, said that she hears that sound in her head all the time because she has tinnitus.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
And I'm right there with her. I mean, I can hear these, obviously. They're so loud you cannot not hear them.
Oh, yeah.
But I sort of hear that frequency buzzing in my head all the time. So it doesn't bother me as much as it bothers Cabana Wife. She's just completely freaked out by these things and doesn't like them at all. I think it's interesting, but I'm done with them. And we got these things till mid-June?
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to be able to deal with that.
Yeah, I'm over it.
By the way, the Members Nutrition super text line says enough with the cicada mic. They're over it. They're over it too.
You don't like the cicada mic? Come on. It's in full stereo too. Did you know that? Full stereo.
No, I definitely tell.
Yeah, we don't mess around with something like. We wouldn't have a mic that was just not stereo.
Yeah, no mono crap around here.
No mono. We're going to go full stereo.
Yeah.
I'm really anxious to see whether we can pick up the noise of the little baby birds when they hatch. 2024 news. Don't have a lot of it, but I want to share some of it with you. Number one, let's see. Biden is still losing it. I know that for sure. Here he's giving a speech over the weekend, and he talked about the Trump erectionists.
What?
That's right, erectionist, not surrectionist. It's erectionist.
He calls the erectionists who stormed Capitol Hill patriot.
Erectionists. Let's see if I.
The erectionists who stormed Capitol Hill. The erectionists.
Let's see that.
The erectionists who.
That's right. They're not. It's not an insurrection. Insurrectionist, I guess, is the word he was trying to say. And then later he gave this unbelievable statement that shows that he doesn't know where he is, and he's lost all sense of time and when things occurred. He doesn't keep a timeline anymore very well at all. Listen to this comment, and then I'll decipher it.
And when I was vice president, things were kind of bad during the pandemic. And what happened was, Barack said to me, go to Detroit and help fix it. Well, poor mayor, he spent more time with me than he ever thought he was going to have to. God love you.
He thinks that the pandemic occurred when he was vice president under Barack Obama. I mean, that's unbelievable. I'm going to listen to it again because he doesn't know anything about where he is. He's lost it.
And when I was vice president, things were kind of bad during the pandemic.
Yeah.
And what happened was, Barack said to me, go to Detroit and help fix it.
None of that is possible. It did not happen when he was vice president, and Barack Obama was not president during the pandemic. Does that not concern you the way it concerns me? This is the man who has his fingers on the nuclear codes. I mean, I am very worried that this guy is completely losing everything. How could he possibly believe that the pandemic was back when he was vice president and Barack Obama told him to go to, I guess it was Detroit, and fix it? He's just, it's incredible to me. Absolutely incredible to me. Marco Rubio, I think this guy would be a great vice presidential running mate for Trump. I mean, Trump has got an embarrassment of riches of people to turn to. But Rubio was out there, doing Sunday morning talk shows, and that Kristen Welker went after him, tried to, and he doesn't shake. I think, the thing I like about Rubio is he's a serious individual. And he really is. He has a real serious streak to him. He knows his stuff, and he's not going to be easily rattled. I like this guy a lot. I always have. In fact, he was my choice for president back when he was running. In the primaries, I wanted Rubio. I thought he'd be a good one.
Let me look forward. Will you accept the election results of 2024, no matter what happens, Senator?
No matter what happens? No, if it's an unfair election, I think it's going to be contested by either side.
Senator, no matter who wins.
I think you're asking the wrong person. The Democrats are the ones that have opposed every Republican victory since 2000. Every single one. It's Hillary Clinton.
No Democrat has refused to concede. Hillary Clinton conceded. Senator, will you accept the election results?
Hillary Clinton said the election was stolen from her and that Trump was illegitimate. Kamala Harris agreed. We have Democrats now.
Senator, she conceded the election. She said that Trump was illegitimate. She said that the election had been stolen. Kamala Harris agreed. By the way, there are Democrats serving in Congress today who in 2004 voted not to certify the Ohio electors because they said those machines had been tampered with. And you have Democrats now saying they won't certify 2024 because Trump is an insurrectionist and ineligible to hold office. So you need to ask them. I think have you ever asked a Democrat this question on your show? I bet you've never asked a Democrat that question.
Yeah, I like the way he fights. I like the way he gets right back up in her grill and doesn't take any guff off of her. So I really think this is good. He was also asked other questions about the border, and he thinks the border is a disaster, and he's right. We got a situation right now on the border where I'm very concerned, especially about this whole case that revolves around a couple of Jordanians who tried to get into the Quantico Marine Base, a very secure area, not far outside the nation's capital. They tried to get in with a box truck, and they said they were with Amazon, and somebody thought this doesn't add up. So they asked them to pull over to an area where they could be screened, and then they tried to drive on into the base, and they were stopped. And then that's literally all we know, except that they both came across the southern border, and one of them allegedly is on the terrorist watch list, and nobody will tell us anything about it. And I think this is all 2024 related. I think the Biden administration does not want to admit that this was, I don't think it was a terrorist attack. I think it was a dry run for a terrorist attack. And it proves the point that everybody's been making about our crisis on the border, that it is a huge national security problem when you have people coming across the border we don't know anything about. 2 Jordanians, and they won't, I'm telling you, the lid is clamped down tight on this story. Nobody's getting any information. Nobody's talking about it. And really, honestly, there ought to be something that people will talk. Somebody ought to be, leaking this information, but nobody is. The word has come down from the Biden administration. We're not talking about this because if you confirm what we all think happened there, then it is very hurtful to the Biden reelection effort because we already are irritated with him as a nation about our immigration policy. It's the number one thing that people are talking about. It's either that or the economy, and neither one of them are good for Biden. But if you are able to confirm that these were really bad guys, I mean, who were these people? Why can't we get names? Why can't we get details about the people who were arrested? Why can't we get more information? It seems like a pretty interesting story, but I mean, the Biden administration has put the clamp on anything coming out about this because I think they know it will hurt their reelection efforts. 50 minutes now past the hour. Say, are your retirement assets structured to minimize taxes? Many hardworking Americans like you could be overpaying on taxes in retirement. You could be taxed on your IRA, your 401k, and any other deferred retirement accounts. Beacon Capital Management is here to give you peace of mind. With the threat of massive tax increases just around the corner, your nest egg could be in trouble unless you take advantage of defensive tax-saving strategies now. Defend your hard-earned retirement savings by scheduling a free retirement tax reduction analysis today. No cost, no pressure, no obligation. If you've saved more than $250,000 for retirement, don't wait any longer. Schedule your free retirement tax reduction analysis from Beacon. All you got to do is call them, 615-488-9303. Again, 615-488-9303, or visit askbeaconnow.com.
The guaranteed offer is the easiest way to sell your home. It's really simple. We bring you an all-cash offer. You close in as little as 21 days. No home inspections, no lock boxes, no open houses. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer and start packing.
GracePoint Healthcare is the standard for affordable, comprehensive, and convenient medicine. How? Well, as a direct pay provider, you see, your healthcare is delivered without the red tape of an insurer's guidelines. They have these things called Smart Care plans, make it even more affordable. They start at $69 a month, and for that, you get free office visits and basic labs for the entire year. I said free. GracePoint identifies and treats the root causes of a condition, not just the symptoms, utilizing a comprehensive functional approach. And by usually seeing you the same or the next day, you're treated at your convenience. GracePoint Healthcare, affordable, comprehensive, and convenient medicine delivered the old-fashioned way on Main Street in Franklin, 599-6868. That's 599-6868 to schedule a visit.
Six o'clock, I'm Mac Morey with your top stories. Currently 83 degrees in Music City. A traffic report and a weather forecast in 5 minutes. Another day of testimony from the Donald Trump hush money trials. Derek Dennis filling us in.
Court's done for the day, but testimony is not over yet. In former President Trump's New York City hush money trial, the prosecution is already rested, and defense lawyers will pick back up with their questioning of longtime Trump ally Robert Costello in the morning. Still no indication Trump himself will testify, though there is still time. The judge has already decided closing arguments won't start till next week.
He doesn't want there to be a lot of space between closing arguments, the charge to the jury, and when deliberations begin. So it looks like he'll let the closings occur next week, and then the jury charge, and finally deliberations.
ABC's Aaron Katursky asked for Costello minutes ago. The judge admonished him for rolling his eyes and lacking decorum. At one point, the judge cleared the courtroom to address Costello more privately. The former president on trial over charges he falsified business records to pay off Stormy Daniels.
And here in Tennessee, a woman stabbed a WeGo bus driver this afternoon. That attacker behind bars, the driver in the hospital. Channel 4 Sharon Dankwa updates us.
They say a woman was getting onto this WeGo bus stop and was getting onto the WeGo bus. She said a bus driver said that the woman came on screaming. When she kept screaming, the bus driver told her to stop and sit down, but that only made the woman even angrier. Police say that's when the woman whipped out a kitchen knife and started charging towards the bus driver with that knife. They say the bus driver fought off that knife but was stabbed multiple times in both of her hands. That's when the bus driver told police the woman jumped off the bus and headed towards Briley Parkway. That's when police say they got the woman, arrested her, and that's when they took the bus driver to the hospital.
Police say the bus driver will be okay. Officials now looking for witnesses as they try and gather more information. Right now, staying in Tennessee, Clarksville officials searching for a semi-truck driver after an alleged road raid crash on I-24 West happened just before 2 o'clock this afternoon. The driver of one semi sideswiped another semi, causing that truck to leave the interstate and into a wooded area. The woman driving the sideswiped trailer was injured from the crash. The Tennessee Highway Patrol now investigating this collision. If anyone's seen a tractor trailer with damage to the right side, you are asked to call police. And some entertainment news, a second #1 song in less than a month for Post Malone, Jason Nathanson.
No help needed for Post Malone and Morgan Wallen. Their new collab, the song I Had Some Help, debuts at #1 on the Billboard Hot 100 singles chart. It's Posty's 6th #1 and Wallen's 2nd. Malone notably debuted at #1 just a couple of weeks ago with Taylor Swift on her song Fortnite, and Billboard points out that I Had Some Help actually had more official U.S. streams than Fortnite in its first week, 76.4 million versus 76.2 million.
And that is the latest news, traffic, and weather on the way. I'm Mac Morey, WTN News.
Hey, it's Dan Mandis, and I am so glad that California Closets has fixed my closet catastrophe. After exact measuring and planning, they came over and got to work. Yeah, once it was all plotted out on their 3D CAD system, the pieces are measured, cut, and precisely installed into my space. It was clean, fast, and professional, and above all, my new closets look and function great. Now, this was my dormer, and now this is my new dormer thanks to California Closets. Look at all of this added space for shirts and shoes, you name it, and it is cut so precisely, simply amazing. And my old closet that has now been reborn as the ultimate in style and functionability, making the best use of the space that I had. They can work on just about anything: bedrooms, garages, home offices, closets, pantries, and so much more. Find them online, CaliforniaClosets.com, and see what they can do for you. You can schedule a free design consultation. Mention my name, CaliforniaClosets.com.
Well, here we are, the fourth and final hour of the drive on this Monday, May 20th. Have you gotten home yet? Well, if you're not, we'll get you all caught up on everything going on. Big developments in the Trump trial, if you've been following that. The testimony of Michael Cohen has just been remarkable. He got caught in a lie last week, and this week he admitted on the stand under oath that he stole $60,000 from the Trump organization. I mean, he's not only a liar, he's a thief. I mean, that's their star witness. How's that working out for you, Alvin Bragg? You thinking that guy's going to get you across the goal line? And then they brought in another guy, Robert Costello, who is going to testify and has testified to some degree already that Cohen told him he didn't have a case, didn't have anything against Trump. He said it over and over and over. I don't have anything. I don't have anything. I don't have anything. So it's getting colorful and interesting in that trial. And so I think we're going to wrap that thing up this week, and I don't think there's a very good chance of a conviction. The prosecution's case is in tatters, absolute tatters, because, this is what happens when you bring a case that should never have been brought, and then you turn a good team of defense attorneys out there to sort of pick holes in your case, and it was inevitable this was going to happen. I don't know what they thought they were going to accomplish, but even with a tainted judge and a jury pool that's not likely to be very sympathetic to Donald Trump, I don't think he's going to be convicted. I think that, all you need is one juror to say, I just can't bring this guy to a conviction. I don't know where the crime is. So moving on, though, I want to spend some time talking about another thing that's about to happen. If you're in traffic right now This story is probably important to you if you work in the downtown Nashville area or if you go to Nashville on a regular basis. And I want to get to the sort of the heart of Mayor Freddie O'Connell's mass transportation plan, which he calls his Choose How You Move. The Beacon Center has done an analysis, as reported by the Tennessee Star, about this $3.1 billion mass transportation plan proposed by O'Connell that would, he says, fix our transportation issues. I'm not sure of that. And I think there are parts of this plan that are truly awful, really awful, not good at all, that you're not hearing a great deal about. So the way the mayor presents it is, well, we're going to get 600 new traffic lights. We're going to build a bunch of sidewalks. We're going to have rapid bus transit. On its surface, that all sounds pretty good. But when you start to bear down on the details, then there are stuff that I don't think is being discussed. Let's take the bus rapid transit, BART. There are those who think maybe Nashville is not dense enough in population for that to really work. But basically the idea here is to have dedicated bus lanes. Dedicated bus lanes. Well, let's just stop and think that through for a moment. Do you really believe they're going to build new roadways for these dedicated buses? These dedicated bus lanes? No, they're not. I promise you they're not. You know what's going to happen? They're going to take existing roadway that you use to get to and from work. They're going to take some of that away from vehicular traffic and make it bus lanes only. That's right. It's going to be a disaster. If you think it's bad now, trying to get to work in Nashville, wait until they take away some of your roadways and tell you can't drive on them. No, I mean, they're talking about a lot of bus lanes. And when they talk about the bus lanes, they're talking about basically taking roadways that are currently used for vehicular traffic, because they're not going to build new roads for this. They simply are not. If there is a plan to build new roads, and I'm wrong about this, I'll be glad to have the mayor on to explain how deadly wrong I am about this, but I don't think I'm wrong. So that's one of them. I mean, there are parts of it I sort of like. I like the 600 traffic signals. I think we could upgrade our system and make it more efficient. I think that would be a cool thing to do. I don't know that we need 86 miles of sidewalks. Why? How does that solve a transit problem? They say, well, people will walk. Okay. Not many people, unless you live within a short distance of where you work, and not many people do, walking is not the answer. So I don't understand that. But the thing that, here's one of the things that I don't like at all. According to the Director of Policy and Research for the Beacon Center, his name is Ron Schultes, he says, there is one part of this plan that is downright inexcusably awful. The idea that real estate development will be led by Metro Nashville government. I mean, can you tell me a time where government has gotten into something that the free enterprise, private sector does, and they've made it better? They've done it better than the free enterprise or the private sector? No, I can't think of one at all. The plan calls for dedicated funding to acquire property, which I think they'll do some of this through eminent domain. They will take property away from others to develop these transit-connected communities. They say private and nonprofit companies would join Metro to develop these properties. That's right. Do you want your government involved in real estate development? Because that's where it's headed. I don't think we do. I don't think we do at all. They're going to go and purchase property near these planned transportation centers. Sobro, East Bank, Antioch, West Nashville, Tennessee State University, Skyline, Madison, Donaldson, Nolensville, and Bellevue. They're going to have transit centers in all those locations where these speedy little buses will come, they say, roaring in and get you there in record time, taking away the roadways you're currently using to drive into town. So he goes on to say, and now a government that not long ago had problems delivering basic services like trash pickup is going to get into the real estate development business. What could possibly go wrong here? And then there's this. They say that these transit-oriented communities, they will use general funds to keep them affordable and accessible to today's Nashvillians, which means that they're probably going to have subsidized housing. Where's that coming from? Who's paying for that? The taxpayers of Nashville? That's what I'm guessing. How are they going to do all of this stuff with a half penny in the sales tax? I mean, that sounds good. Oh, we're going to solve all of your problems, and it's only going to cost you a half cent in the sales tax. Do you believe that? I don't believe you get $3.1 billion out of a half penny in the sales tax. And maybe they do, but I don't see how you do it. I think there will be additional costs, and that once we get into this behemoth, this massive behemoth, I think we're going to find that it is poorly managed, as government almost always does when it takes on things that it's not supposed to be doing. Schultes expressed concerns that Metro could dedicate already existing road lanes for bus use only, potentially increasing Nashville's traffic congestion. That's the one that I think has not yet been made clear. So again, I sincerely, absolutely sincerely extend my hand to Mayor O'Connell. If I have this wrong, tell me where I'm wrong. But I don't think that you're going to be building new bus lanes. I think you're going to use the existing roads we have in this town, and I think it's going to be a disaster. If I'm wrong, come on the show. You'll be treated with nothing but respect. But we need answers. I think this is one of those things where they're not giving us all the details, because the details will be very controversial when they are known. We don't need our government involved in real estate development, and we don't need to take away existing roadways to turn them into bus lanes. That will exacerbate the problem, not make it better. I promise you, this is shaping up, the way it looks now, to be an absolute unmitigated disaster. By the way, I always say that there aren't many people riding the buses that we have. This is a sad story out of WKRN. A woman was arrested for allegedly stabbing a WeGo bus driver in East Nashville. Metro said the female bus driver stopped the bus near Broadmoor Drive and Gallatin Pike in East Nashville around noon. Woman got on the bus, began arguing with the driver, attempted to punch her. A struggle ensued, which resulted in the suspect grabbing the driver's braids and trying to cut her throat. The driver tried to fight back and was stabbed in the hand. Her injuries are non-life-threatening, according to investigators. Okay, that in itself is a very sad commentary on how things work in some parts of our community right now. But then there was this one little paragraph at the end which sort of made my larger point. Police said there were 12 passengers on board at the time of the incident. 12 passengers. See, the buses aren't full. They're not full. And I don't think that it's a good use of our money. I hope that people in Nashville look at this critically. Because I tell you, everybody outside of Nashville is going to be hating life when they take away the lanes that we use to try to get into downtown Nashville to work. Take away and put buses on them. Buses aren't going to solve your problem. They're certainly just not going to do that. Real quick, Mayor O'Connell says license plate readers could return to Nashville. There was a 6-month pilot program, and then the license plate readers were used throughout Davidson County. They solved a lot of crimes. It helped them a lot. Police love the license plate readers. They say we want them, but the Metro Council has been listening to the Community Oversight Board, and the Community Oversight Board says, we think you're discriminating about where you place the cameras. So they were placed in mostly non-wide and low-income areas. O'Connell says his office is working to bring them back in the right way, fine-tune the policy. Look, I think they put I hate to say this, but I think the reason that they were in some poorer communities is they put the license plate readers in the communities where they have the most crime. And I'm sorry, but I mean, I think that's true. And so I think the police want them back, but it looks like it's going to be a heavy lift to get them back up and operating. I know a lot of people don't like the license plate readers. I don't have a problem with them because I've seen how they work, and I understand the safety precautions that have put in place, so they cannot be. There are safety precautions to prohibit, make it very difficult to use the system just to spy on people. You have to have a criminal case attached to a license plate number before the thing will even send up a flare. But it works. It's working in other communities. I even have one here in bucolic Little Watertown. We have a series of license plate readers. I don't have a problem with that. I don't. It has already been used to solve a lot of crimes in other places. Let's get them back up. Let's get them in place. Again, you have no expectation of privacy according to the Supreme Court when you leave your house. And I think these things can be managed in a way to really reduce crime, which ought to be the most important thing that a government does for its community, to make sure you're safe. And then very quickly, a judge has yet to decide whether or not Metro will have to cut the size of its Metro Council roughly in half. There is a court hearing today over a 2023 law capping the size of Metropolitan Council at 20 members. The judges blocked the law from going into effect last April, but it has not been struck down, and that case is now moving forward. 21 past the hour. Let me tell you about the folks over at Eurofix so they can really fix your European car. I mean, what was it like the last time you went to an auto repair shop that wasn't Eurofix? Was it smelly? Was it greasy? Was it dirty? Were there old rags lying around a countertop that you didn't want to touch? Another thing that stinks is the repair shop that keeps your car forever. They're not honest, and they don't call you back when they say they will. If that was your last experience at a vehicle repair shop, it's time to try out Eurofix. Eurofix takes the stink out of European auto repair. At Eurofix, you'll get a free 15-minute no-wrench inspection with an estimate at every visit. No high pressure sales tactics. At Eurofix, you get a 3-year nationwide warranty and a free loaner car with every repair appointment. You never have to pay dealer prices. Eurofix is now located in Franklin, 100 Oaks, Murfreesboro, Belmead, and now their newest location in Mount Juliet. Call this number, 844-EUROFIX. That's 844-EUROFIX, or visit myEurofix.com. That's myEurofix.com, and tell them your friend and radio buddy Brian Wilson sent you.
The guaranteed offer is the easiest way to sell your home. It's really simple. We bring you an all-cash offer. You close in as little as 21 days. No home inspections, no lock boxes, no open houses. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer and start packing.
It's 25 minutes now past the hour at 6 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7. I don't know what to think about this story. I mean, honestly, it's like, you ever heard of what, like a helicopter parent? A parent so that hovers over their child and takes control of every single aspect of their kids. Some people call them, like bulldozer parents who are bulldozing the way in front of the child. See, I believe that, children honestly need to learn from their mistakes. I mean, how do you learn if you never make a mistake?
You go through life. Stick that fork in that light socket. See what happens.
That's all right. I mean, if your parents are hovering over you so completely that you never make a mistake, then you think life is like that. I mean, they're there to intercede and to take care of all your problems. And children grow up, I think, not well served by an approach like that. I don't think it's a real problem when a kid makes a mistake. Kids are kids, they're going to make mistakes. They're going to have poor judgment. And then I think they need to understand that there are consequences to mistakes at times. You don't want your kid to go out and break the law, of course. You want to keep, you don't want to do anything like that. But I mean, how do you learn if you never make a mistake? I remember sometimes I got into, real pickles when I was a kid. I remember one thing where I got a speeding ticket. 16 years old, I got a speeding ticket, and it was a good one. And I came home and told my dad, I've got a speeding ticket today, and I don't know what's going to happen. He said, well, you're going to take care of it. I said, what do you mean you're going to take care of it? I said, he said, well, you're going to go down there and you're going to stand in front of the judge and you're going to handle it. I said, well, Dad, what if I don't have enough money to cover the speeding ticket? He said, well, how much money you got in your pocket? I said, I think I had about $60 to my name, which is, not chump change when you're 16 years old, but still, that's how much money I had to my name. I didn't have any extra in the bank. I didn't have a checking account. I was 16 years old. He said, just go down there. And I said, but if the judge, I said, what if the judge tells me I don't have enough money? Well, you're going to work it out. I was like freaked out at 16 years old. I had to go down to court and stand before the judge. And I stood there before the judge. And I said, Your Honor, I don't know what to tell you. It was a mistake. It was boneheaded, and I'm really sorry. And I've learned from the mistake. I'm a pretty good kid. I haven't ever been in trouble before. And so I really appreciate if you can cut me a little slack on this one. He said, well, it was a pretty egregious speeding ticket. I can't just look the other way. Your fine will be $57. $57. I paid it. I left out of the court with $3 in my pocket. And I didn't find out, and for many, 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 many years, like I'm well into adulthood before I found out, as they say, the rest of the story. My dad called the judge and said, he's got $60 in his pocket. Leave him enough, Judge, to get a couple of gallons of gas to get home on. But take every other penny he's got. So my dad had called the judge, and I didn't know it, but I learned a lesson, having to go down there and deal with that on my own. My dad was not one who would get in there and go down with me and hold my hand. He wanted me to solve these problems on my own. And for many years, I believed that he had not been involved at all in that until I found out later he had been. But one way or the other, parents need to let their kids make mistakes. This story out of Nashville. Riley and Rhonda Lemon have gone viral on social media for their Find Riley a Date series. Riley, who is 27,
good grief,
lives in Nashville. He needs a date for his brother's wedding coming up in November. Instead of the old-fashioned way or even a dating app, he and his mom have gone viral on TikTok and Instagram in search of a lucky person who will get to escort Riley to the wedding. It's a process, but it's been fun, and I'm glad you're the one doing it, Riley said to his mom, and so far, they've been fantastic. Rhonda, the mom, is in charge of picking the activities. Riley will go on 27 dates. Rhonda picked 25 people. The audience picked one, and Riley picked one as well. This is ridiculous.
I think this is all for just views, for clicks.
I guess it is. I guess they're just trying to build up an audience, but I think it's dumb. If Riley can't get his own damn date,
At 27 years old or whatever.
At 27 years old. then I think, yeah, he just, just go to the wedding stag is what I would say. Just go to the wedding stag. Nobody will think more of it. But honestly, the thing that's really irritating is it really ought to be about his brother's wedding.
That's a really good point. Yeah, he's just taking away from the attention from his brother.
All the attention at the thing is going to be his date and how his mama got him a date and who's the date and who won the contest and all that. No, the attention ought to be on the son, on the brother who's getting married. Yep. It's his day. And I just think this is really, really bad from about 10 different directions. 30 minutes now past the hour of 6 o'clock. Let me tell you about the folks over at Busy Bee HVAC and Plumbing. They're a good company. I've been doing business with them since we got the house here in bucolic Watertown. They've been out many, many times. They've been really good. And the thing is that you want to become a member of the Beehive Club because that's the way you keep your systems running. They do a little preventative maintenance. They check to make sure everything's all right. Catch a problem before it becomes a failure. You don't want that to happen. So the Beehive Club, you get 3 annual tune-ups, one aimed at heating, one aimed at cooling, one aimed at plumbing. You get 10% off all repairs, priority front-of-the-line service. You won't be waiting around. You get $100 annual accrued replacement credit with a maximum of $1,000 credit, and no overtime or holiday fees. Exclusive Beehive member promotions will be made available to you and only you if you're a member of the Beehive Club. Now, listen, here's the thing about big projects. If you got a big heating and cooling project, if you end up, as I did, I found out, well, I had a system that was really, really old, on its last legs, needed to replace it. Well, you can get no interest if paid in full within 15 months on heating and cooling projects. If you're talking about plumbing, you get 18 months, 0% interest, again with approved credit. The folks over at Busy Bee, well, they are your official Rude Pro partner. For satisfaction guaranteed, call Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling, 615-775-7833, online at busybehvac.com.
Hey, what's up, guys? This is Matt Murphy for Members Nutrition. I want to tell you about the Members Nutrition difference, and I want to encourage you to go over to the Members Nutrition website. Number one, they believe at Members Nutrition that they can sell vitamins and supplements at a lower cost point, and they're doing it every single day at membersnutrition.com. Number two, they want to make these products right here in the United States of America, not from some overseas company, and they do that every single day. I encourage you to go to membersnutrition.com. You'll get 50% off your purchase price at checkout. You don't have to put in any codes. Just go to membersnutrition.com. Once again, membersnutrition.com.
It's 38 minutes now past the hour of 6 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7. I'm Brian Wilson. Just about 22 minutes before we wrap things up here on the drive for this Monday, May 20th, hand it over to Mark Levin, the great one. He will carry on through the evening, and he's been on fire lately. So, again, love my Mark Levin. He is so listenable and so smart. A lot of things I'd like to sort of get across the goal line here. We haven't really talked about the developments in Iran. The Iranian president and the foreign minister apparently killed in a helicopter crash. First we heard, well, it was a hard landing. Then they said, no, it was really a crash. And then we find out that it was apparently, it seems pretty clear from the reporting that they flew a helicopter into the side of a mountain in foggy conditions. Ibrahim Raisi killed in the helicopter crash on Sunday, depriving Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei of a longtime ally as Tehran angles for regional dominance through armed militias that are fighting the U.S. and Israel. Raisi's death was announced early Monday after state television reported that a helicopter carrying the foreign minister had made a difficult landing in northwestern Iran. The cause of the crash is under investigation. But the Iranians are already trying to blame the United States. Iranian state media said on Monday that a technical failure caused the helicopter crash that killed the president and foreign minister. and blamed it on U.S. economic sanctions. Since the 1979 Islamic Revolution, Iran has faced international sanctions, with the New York Times reported it had had a negative impact on aviation in the country. Mohammad Javad Zarif, Iran's former foreign minister, argued on Monday that the U.S. was indirectly responsible for the crash due to the sanctions it had imposed on Iran. One of the causes of this heartbreaking incident is the United States, which, by sanctioning the sale of the aviation industry to Iran, calls the martyrdom of the president and his companions. He says the U.S.'s crime will be recorded in the minds of the Iranian people in history. Of course, they're going to try to pin it on the evil Satan, the United States. Of course they will. I'm increasingly interested in this story in Quantico, and I'm just going to go give you a couple of thoughts here about it, because I've talked about it several times during this show today. But two guys who were Jordanian nationals, both of them apparently came across the southern border as illegal immigrants. One of them is on the terrorist watch list. Tried to take a box truck through the gate at Quantico Marine Corps Base in Dumfries, Virginia, just outside the nation's capital. They were stopped. They were held. No weapons were found. Apparently, if there's anything inside the box truck, we've not heard what it is. And it is impossible to get information out of the federal government on this. I mean, there is a lockdown on information about this, which is truly remarkable. Usually you get somebody who will leak something, but leaks are not coming very fast and furiously on this particular story. Now, if they didn't have weapons and there's nothing in the box truck, and that's apparently what we're told is true, what were they doing? Well, some people have suggested it was a dry run for a potential terrorist attack. After all, I mean, think of the kind of damaging things you could put in the back of a box truck if you had any chance of all, if you thought you had a chance of getting it into a military base. So they apparently were thwarted at the gate at Quantico, tried to get into the base anyway, and now they're under arrest. And the question is, why can't we get any more information about this particular story? I think I know why. I think the Biden administration has put the clamps on this, any information coming out from any of the agencies under its control at the Justice Department, the FBI, Homeland Security, or elsewhere, because they know this will be damaging to the Biden campaign, because it proves everything. If this is indeed was a dry run, it proves everything that we have been warning about regarding to our border policy, where we got, 1.8 million known gotaways. They're in this country that we don't know anything about. Nothing. It could even be a case that these guys were actually vetted and still allowed in the country. One way or the other, there's more to this story, and we're not going to get the details if the Biden administration has something to do about it, because they know how devastating that storyline could be. Explosive headlines. They came through the border and they wanted to blow up a Marine base. And that's exactly the kind of thing we've been talking about and warning about for the last 3 years. The border officials now say a senior House Republican, Mark Green, expects the number of migrants encountered by federal border authorities under the Biden administration to reach 10 million by the end of the summer, a number that has never been seen in even two-term presidential administrations. Approximately 250,000 migrants were encountered at the nation's border in April, bringing the total since February of 21 to 9.57 million. At the current rate, the Biden administration will hit the never-before-seen figure of 10 million people encountered in a single term of a president in the coming months. This according to House Homeland Security Committee Chairman Mark Green of our own Tennessee. It's unbelievable that we're on track to hit 10 million encounters nationwide before this fiscal year is even over. And that doesn't count the roughly 2 million or more known gotaways of this administration's watch. President Biden and Secretary Mayorkas continue to break all the wrong records, and it's overwhelming our Border Patrol agents. And at the front lines, according to Green, American people should not have to bear another day of this self-inflicted disaster. Wow. I don't know. I mean, how many times can you raise the flare? I mean, and nothing gets done about it. Nothing gets done. Illegal immigration remains stubbornly high despite Biden's attempts to paint it as decreasing, writes justthenews.com. Mark Morgan, former Customs and Border Protection Acting Commissioner, told Just the News that Biden administration is playing a shell game with illegal immigration statistics. We have executed the largest surge of removals and disruptive activities against human smuggling networks in the past decade as a result of this increased enforcement. Southwest border encounters have not increased, bucking previous trends, said Acting Border Patrol Commissioner Troy Miller last week. Do you believe that? I don't believe it. Although the number of encounters last month, 247,000 and change, is fewer than the number reported in April of 23 or April of 22, the numbers are still catastrophic. And the comparison should be made to the numbers of encounters under Trump. That's absolutely right. In the meantime, even though Donald Trump is, running a campaign, his allies are in the process of drawing up detailed proposals to implement the presumptive Republican presidential nominee's plans for an unprecedented immigration crackdown, including an effort that will deport asylum seekers to other countries, according to people involved in the effort. A cadre of former Trump administration officials, Trump supporters, and conservative immigration wonks are writing executive orders, policy memos, and other documents in a bid to transform campaign rhetoric into policy should he win the election. The goal, the people said, is to be ready for the first day of the Trump presidency to stem the flow of migrants across the U.S.-Mexico border, unwind President Biden's immigration agenda, and lay the groundwork for what the former president said would be the largest mass deportation in U.S. history. Yeah, we just got to get the guy elected, I'm telling you. House Republicans have dismissed Democrat plans to bring a failed border deal up for a vote in the Senate this week as an attempt to provide political cover to Democrats running in swing states this fall. In a Monday statement, Speaker Mike Johnson announced the border bill, should it pass the Senate, is dead on arrival in the House and called on Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer to bring up Republicans' comprehensive border bill, H.R. 2, instead. For more than 3 years now, congressional Democrats have stood by while the Biden administration has opened our borders to criminal drug cartels, terrorists, and untold millions of illegal immigrants. Now, Leader Schumer is trying to give the vulnerable members cover by bringing a vote on a bill which has already failed once in the Senate because it would actually codify many of the disastrous Biden open border policies that created the crisis in the first place. The vote announced by Schumer on Sunday in a Dear Colleague letter is not expected to be successful. In addition to opposition from Senate Republicans, a number of Hispanic and progressive members came out against the proposal when it came up for a vote in February. Schumer has just revived the border deal as a sign that Democrats' commitment to act never waned, but Republicans believe the vote is a chance to allow vulnerable Democrats to be seen as trying to solve the border crisis. So, when that commercial comes out, he voted, he had the opportunity, when they accuse him of not doing anything about the border. Well, we took a vote. But Republicans wouldn't let the thing go through. It's not our fault. See, they're looking for cover. That's all that is. Let's see. One other story that I wanted to see if I could find here. Yeah, it has nothing to do with any of that. But I've just got a minute or two left, and I just want you to know. If you're one of the many people who decide they'd like to eat dinner at 4:30 in the afternoon down at the Red Lobster, you may have heard that they're going to close out like 500 different, that's not right. They're going to close down a bunch of their 578 restaurants across 44 states in Canada. Now, Red Lobster serves 64 million customers, and they serve a lot of those cheesy biscuits.
Oh, yeah. People love those.
Who doesn't? And apparently Red Lobster has now officially filed for bankruptcy. $1 billion in debt, $30 million in cash on hand. Will be selling its business to lenders and in turn will receive financing to stay afloat, but they have to close down a bunch of restaurants. Now, I have a little bit of good news. They're going to close the one in Memphis, but the ones in Nashville apparently are untouched by this reorganization effort.
Well, that's a relief, I guess.
Well, there you go. I mean, all you can eat shrimp is, it's still going to be a thing.
Or maybe not.
Yeah,
you might have to pay per shrimp now.
I mean, really, it boils down to apparently the company that they eventually ended up being owned by, that they're shutting down 93 restaurants out of the 500 that they have. But the company that now controls them is a company that apparently really made horrible decisions. It's called Thai Union, and they were apparently in the company's. Some people on the inside say we're penny wise and pound foolish, and that's how they got into the trouble they're in. 50 minutes now past the hour of 6 o'clock. Let me tell you about Restoration Wellness and Med Spa. Let the team at Restoration Wellness help you achieve your summer goals, because Restoration Wellness and Med Spa is a leader in weight loss management in Wilson County. Summer is just around the corner. Call the Restoration Wellness team today at this number, 615-470-8124, or visit them at their website, restorationwellnessmedspa.com, to book a consultation today. Now, my friends Carly and Jamie saw them just the other day when I was in for, an update on my work and Cabana Wife's work to lose weight. They're going to treat you like you were part of the family. Be a part of the 1,000 patients who have already seen life-changing results from the weight loss management program. Weight loss can increase your energy levels, improve your quality of sleep, enhance your overall health. And these are customized treatment plans, not just one size fits all. They make adjustments considering your unique needs, your lifestyle, and your goals. So whether your goal is to lose stubborn body fat or improve your overall health, Restoration Wellness has a solution for you. I'm telling you, it's working for me. It's working for Cabana Wife. She looks awesome. Newest technology in weight loss management. Just go to restorationwellnessmedspa.com.
The guaranteed offer is the easiest way to sell your home. It's really simple. We bring you an all-cash offer. You close in as little as 21 days. No home inspections, no lock boxes, no open houses. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer and start packing.